Hi, I'm Sero. This is my stream, seroRPG, because I, Sero, do RPG things with my RPG friends. Hi, friends.
Hello.
Hi. Today we will be playing, what's it called? Red like blood, like river clay. An Old Gods of Appalachia one-shot, which for a few of us is our first time playing. For some of us, old veterans. And I still haven't read the rules, so follow me. I'll be the total noob in this learning this game. I'll quickly run around and introduce everyone, and then hand it over to our GM. We'll start with Alyss, they are our GM. Sorry, I'm getting everyone's pronouns wrong. My bad. Okay, Alyss, tell us about yourself. Where are you from?
Hi, family. My name is Alyss. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me everywhere online at Alyss Heart or Hellion Heart. Main podcast I'm on is Welcome to Reddington. It's Monster of the Week podcast. You can find me a lot of places online, though, including Lost Caravan for live streaming. Technically, I'm in Georgia somewhere. That's not important.
Fair enough. Thanks for being here.
Of course.
Next, we have David.
Hello, everyone. My name is David. I use he and they pronouns. I'm going to be a player today, which is an odd thing for me on Sarah's streams. I'm so often running little Birdwood Bay and other one-shots. I'm best known on the internet for being the host and producer of Trials of the Apocalypse, a podcast where we try out different Powered by the Apocalypse games and various one-shots with a rotating cast of players. We are currently on a hiatus, but there's plenty of backlog if you haven't heard of the show before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super excited. Should I be talking about who my character is yet, or we're waiting for that?
Nah, we'll leave that for Alyss to sort out.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. And as pointed out by the audience, David is now an honorary Kiwi.
Oh, congratulations.
And next we have Heather. Hey, Heather.
Hi, I'm Heather. I use she, her. I'm usually playing Mags on Nameless Monsters. We have just wrapped up our first season and are getting ready to start a new chapter using the 13th Age RPG, which I'm very excited about. This is actually not my first time playing Old Gods, so you guys just watch out. I'm just kidding. I won't remember anything but rolling the d20. So, super excited to be here.
Yay! Super excited to have you. And of course, we have Kat.
Hello, everybody. I'm Cap. I use he, him pronouns. You can find me most of the time on Shrimp and Crits, an actual play podcast. We played Monster of the Week for Season 1, and now we are playing Ironsworn for Season 2. It's a fantasy season. It's very fun. And I also reside somewhere in Georgia, but you'll never find me.
I bet we can.
It's not hard.
Next thing you know, there'll be a picture on Google Maps. It'll be like, this house.
Just follow the billboards with my face on them all the way to my house.
If anyone wants to influence the game, there are ways to do this. You can either use your Kiwi coins, which are your channel points at the bottom of chat there, to give us a plus or 1 or a -1 to our rolls. Or you can share some bits or tip some dollars and more directly influence the game there. I think that's really it. Let's pass things along to our GM and they can take it away. Take it away, Alyss.
All right. So as Sarah said, tonight we're playing Old Gods of Appalachia. It is a Cypher System TTRPG. If anyone has never played Cypher System, it is very easy. So everyone except Heather should be fine.
Yeah.
Heather is already old hat.
So she shouldn't be fine?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I
don't
heard.
you know, if you know the system, you're automatically lethal at my tables.
Oh.
I love to hear it.
Right. Got it.
But for anyone interested, it's a pretty much a D20 system. Pretty light, pretty easy. But Old Gods, a little more lethal, a little darker. In fact, as we round back to 1934, world's a little harder, it's a little poorer. Folks in these parts are a little harder hit by the depression than they'd like to be. Sometimes it's up to just the folks around you being kind, being honorable, that you survive day to day. In fact, it's towns that come together, including our little town of Elegy. Eastern Tennessee, pretty close to major bodies of water, rivers, streams, and Frost Lake, which the town almost lives around. Only not everything has been easy in Frost Lake lately. Railroad is starting to come through. There's talks of it being laid right over the lake. But just the act of that work piling through, the steam and smoke and smog hitting the air, and what little resources seem to be taken up by out-of-towners, folks from the big city piling through. In fact, a few of them have even started trying to make their own little town close enough by that it's becoming a little bit of a problem. Another problem, folks gone missing. No one quite knows where, but at least a few townspeople have been. Most of them workers passing through haven't been missed, but their disappearance is definitely something to talk about. In fact, that's where we find the four of you this morning, out in the deck of Pruitt's Mercantile. So let's go around, though, see what y'all have been hearing about. Euphonia. What's the gossip that's hitting your ears this morning?
Well, I was up doctoring somebody the other day, part of the Patrick's family. And, their eldest son got a job laying track for this railroad company. They're not real happy about it, but a job's a job and you got to take what you can. And apparently, one of the boys that he works with was one of the ones what gone missing. And I don't know. It just seems a mighty bad thing. And truth be told, I think it's something to do with these railroad creeps. They got no business being here. We done just fine without them, and we'll keep on. But that's just what I think.
Definitely. And the Patrick's boy, his friend, one of the railroad people, is it one of the people in town, or off from the city, or someone they picked up on the way?
I think somebody from Maryville, I think.
Definitely. And Zedikiah, what about you? Always a lot of town gossip going on.
Oh, I try not to pay too much heed to the gossip around town. I have noticed, however, that a lot of the spirits who interact.
Oh, I'm so sorry, David. Please unmute yourself. That was me.
Oh, you muted me.
Oh,
an
How
no.
accident.
rude!
It's an accident.
Wow. Well, I figure a lot of the spirits that I interact with on a somewhat regular basis, they've been so quiet lately. I haven't even been able to catch hide nor hair of some of them. I think something is scaring them off, and not prone to the same sorts of weakness that mortal flesh provides. It's a rather strange thing for spirits to be scared off.
scared off or something else, but they, mighty quiet lately. A little worrying, I'm sure.
Might
Makes me
bet.
wonder, Hattie, what are you hearing?
Well, I haven't been hearing much from Tilly lately. You know, one of the voices in my head. But I've been speaking in random tongues a lot more. You know, the ones. It's a bit unsettling because I'm usually out in public when it happens, so I attract a bit too much attention. Makes it hard for me to watch the people. But yeah, I haven't heard much from Tilly lately in my head.
Now, who is Tilly to you
Tilly
outside of
one
a
of
voice?
Tilly's one of the voices in my head. I don't know much about Tilly. Tilly only tells me something about other people. I'm the one who killed her, Tilly. I also got Bob, but Bob's not very helpful. Bob's the one who tells me to do things to people, and Tilly's just the one that tells me when people are lying.
That's fair. It leaves us with Everett. You don't come into town much, but you're quite perceptive. So what have you been seeing?
Well, I ain't much about what I've been seeing. Can you hear me okay in this thing? I know you can't really see my lips move. I feel kind of like a Muppet. But it's more about what I ain't been hearing. And them birds have been quiet for weeks.
Which ain't good.
It ain't good. Especially
Yes.
when we're bothering the trees so much.
Definitely. The
You
grain
know,
ain't
with
ever
our
happy when
axes.
you interrupt with it.
Damn eyebrow.
Listen, if I can't emote with my face, I'm gonna emote with my eyebrows and maybe fog up my glasses.
Hey, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to make yourself heard.
Ain't that right? I don't know how long this bit's gonna last.
However long it needs to. That's all
Mhm.
it needs.
Mm-hmm.
But the four of y'all have heard a little bit of town gossip this morning. And maybe that's what brought you down to Truett's, and maybe that isn't. Maybe you're just stocking up. But you hear Miss Effie Thomas just kind of smash in through the front door. All in a hurry and a tizzy. Oh. Which one of you would probably be the most capable?
Capable in
In
what
what-
way, ma'am?
Yeah.
In what domain?
The loaded question.
I need someone to help. It's out at the lake. The boys were fishing, and
Somebody get hurt?
I mean, I wasn't there. It was one of the Parker twins came to tell me that Mr. Beatty, anyone around town would know Mr. Beatty's one of the older farmers that tends to be out towards the edges of Elegy. Probably one of the most far out, but definitely one of the ones that tend to go fishing out on Saturdays. Mr. Beatty, he just fell in and no one can find him. And God, this is another one that's gone. I don't know what we're gonna do.
Well, laws, we better go try and find him.
I am in possession of a small boat. We could use it out on the lake.
Good thinking, Stump.
I've got
I
keen
know.
eyes. I could point you from the shoreline. I'm none too stable on boats. I'll let you do the sailing.
I wouldn't want you to get your shoes wet.
I appreciate that, and the missus appreciates it too.
I don't want to go near the lake.
What
Last
about you,
time I was-
Euphonia? You want to get on the boat with me?
Sure, I will. If we can fish him out, I'm sure he'll need help.
Oh, you ain't afraid. That's cool. What were you saying, Hattie?
I was gonna say last time I was out on the lake, Bob told me to push someone in.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Well, all right. You can stay on the shore.
Okay.
You know, I'm starting to feel more hesitant about that shoreline after hearing that news. How much space is there in the boat? Asking for a friend.
Oh, don't worry, Bob. Not been around lately, so I won't push you unless you want me
So-
to.
I have in my inventory a flat-bottomed boat, which I assume is not in my inventory, but in my possession somewhere in my campsite.
Pull it
Well,
out
that's
of your back
probably
pocket. Unfold
Yeah.
it.
You probably hold like 2 people, right? I imagine a flat-bottomed boat is probably like a 2-person. Like,
This day and age, yeah, a flat bottom
Yeah,
boat
yeah.
would probably be like a 2-person, just barely. If you add a third, it might dip a little bit.
perfect.
But that does beg the question, Everett. Where do you keep your boat?
I think I'm going to do this when I'm talking to you. I think
I'll
I've got like
around.
a campsite set up because all the items I took are like a portable camp stove, a boat, travel pack, stuff like that. So I think just outside of the city, right in the woods, not in a campsite or anything, but just not too far away.
Well, it does take a second to haul a boat. So is it just you going to grab that and everyone else going to the lake? Or how we split in the party? Or are we?
Me and Euphonia, maybe.
Well, I was about to say, Stump, I've got my bicycle right outside. But you stand on the back and we'll get going.
I can manage. Thank you. I'll hold on real tight.
Well, not too tight.
Yeah, we're gonna bike to the boat. Cool kid
Perfect.
style.
That's right.
Definitely.
Standing on the spoke.
And it's none too bad until Ms. Euphonia, you have to take that path less traveled off the main road to get to
Oh yeah, yeah.
camp. But Hattie, Zedikiah, what are y'all two doing?
Figure we might as well walk down to the shoreline. You think, Hattie?
Yeah, that sounds good. I might skip.
Ain't no law in these lands against skipping.
I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't skipped in a while, so I might see if I can still do it.
A mood.
Would you say something this would be something Hattie would have difficulty with?
I mean, she's wearing a lot of clothing, like all of her clothing.
Oh, that's fun.
But
You know
it's
what? If you
men's
think it's
clothing.
something that would be difficult, why don't we make our first roll of the evening
With a -1 from the audience. Yep.
with a -1,
no.
I see.
which for this game would actually make it a degree of difficulty harder. Which I think would
To go
make this
high?
a level 2, which means you're going to need to roll a 6 or higher on a d20, unless you have something that can ease this difficulty.
I don't think I do, unless it's something like speed or might come down
Well,
under.
if you have, do you happen to have an edge in your edge in speed by any chance?
No, and I'm wondering why the fuck not.
I think it's because you picked the might base class a little bit.
But then I
but
didn't
what
really
that
make
mean-
it might based. It's my true.
It's okay. It all
I'm rolling.
good thing about this is it all kind of boils down. So if you would like to make it easier, you can spend 3 points out of your speed pool to pull it down a degree of difficulty. Or if you have a skill
Nah, I mean, if I
Okay.
skip shit, it's gonna be in character.
I'm
And I skip
confident you can
shit
hit
because
that
it's a
six.
2 minus 1 equals 1.
Oh no!
Starting off strong.
Oh no!
So
How does
what
this
does
look?
it look like when Hattie can't skip?
Biffs it.
Okay. She just kind of swings her arms forward and hops, and then looks around. Did I do it? Did I? Did I do it?
Yeah. Well, you were trying to skip. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't watching too terribly close, but I feel like it's more of a matter of the heart than the body. If you had the sensation that you were skipping there along the ground like a stone, then I reckon that you skipped.
I reckon you're pulling my leg. I reckon I don't know how to skip, so I reckon you need to show me.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question. I have the fast talk special ability.
Mhm.
Can I either use that to attempt to convince Hattie that she has indeed skipped, and or that I do not need to skip in this particular moment?
Mm-hmm.
We're rolling all the important rolls.
Oh yeah,
Hey, it's good
right up the
practice, especially when you're new.
That's right.
Yeah. Read off your ability for me, though, David.
yeah. Fast talk. This is going to cost me 1 intellect point. When speaking with an intelligent creature who can understand you and isn't hostile, which I'm assuming Hattie meets all of those requirements, I can convince that creature to take one reasonable action in the next round. A reasonable action must be agreed upon by the GM. It should not put the creature and its allies in obvious danger or be wildly out of character. So if Sarah would agree that it would not be out of character for Hattie to be convinced that she was successfully skipping and therefore does not need to see any example, that would be my preferred fast talk result. If should the GM permit.
I would say usually what happens with Hattie is that Tilly would have told her that you were talking shit.
Oh, fair.
But Tilly's not talking at the moment, so Hattie's really not sure.
How hard do you think it is to have Hattie convinced of anything?
Probably not too hard considering the voices. She always listens to the voices.
Let's set that maybe at a level 2. So that'll be a 6.
All right. I don't think I have anything terribly useful in rolling in this instance. Just roll 20. That is a 16. I will take that.
Hey.
Perfect.
Do you use your +1?
Oh, that's right. A +1 from Dixon.
You don't have
Well,
to use
and-
that if you don't want to right now. We'll let you just kind of have that as an optional degree of ease.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I understand I could model it for you now, Hattie, and I understand that might improve your perspective on it, but whether or not I'm able to skip, it doesn't actually influence whether or not you are or perceive yourself to be, if you catch my meaning. So why don't you just give it one more shot? I'll watch more closely this time, and well, I think you'll see for yourself quite quickly how adept you are at it.
Oh, well, all right. I swing my arms forward again and do another hop.
Well, that was, I have seen a measure of skipping in my day, and I have to say that may be the seminal case, an example for the children to follow in the streets as they, study the art themselves. I think that was a delightful representation.
Oh, well, thank you. You kind of got me a bit blushing there, with your kindness. But I guess I'll keep it up, and she'll do another swing and another hop, swing and another hop.
Please
All
tell me we
day.
keep this
Don't
up
stop.
like the whole way
Yeah.
to the lake.
Yep.
Hey, if y'all want to, you definitely can.
It's not the
You
fastest way
probably
of
give
travel, but only
Extra
man's
Everett
life on the
and
line.
Euphonia
But yeah.
plenty of time.
Yeah, I figure we probably arrive at the lake right about the same time that they are with the boat. So
You might have a little bit of a advantage just because those two are having to drag a flatboat all the way back here. And I don't think Mr. Everett would have a trailer by any chance.
No. Just throw that thing on my back and move along.
So yeah, Hattie, Zedikiah, when the two of you get to the lake, you see, of course, Lake Frost. Large, some would say almost it feels impractically so, but it stretches out, and out in the distance you can kind of see some of the mountains raising up and the forest around it. And closest to you out near one of the docks is the Parker twins, little boys about 12 years old, tow-headed as the day is long. And one of them, Harold Parker, he's up to his ankles in the slit, trying to, like, just splashing at the water. And his twin is kind of on board, on shore. Is Henry. Just kind of sees you. Harry, come on. They're here. Did Miss Effie send you?
oh yeah, that's why we're here. You boys see something happen out here? You careful not to drown yourself in the muck.
I mean, I don't know. And this is Henry, the one that was on shore. I mean, don't you worry about that, Mr. Zedikiah. You know, Mama don't teach me how to swim. Daddy taught Harry, but because he's the older of us. But no, we were out here with Mr. Beatty. We were catching some worms for him in the dirt to use as a bait, and I thought he was just catching something, and next thing I know, it pulled him right in, and it's not that deep, but I can't find him anywhere. He ain't splashing nothing.
Well, that is awful indeed. Where did you see him go down?
And he just like pokes to one end off of the dock, which it's just like a quick little walk down dock mostly for the hobby fishers around the town. So it ain't more than like 5 feet deep, 6 feet. If you're lucky, you're not finding much but like little crappie.
Looking out over the water, is there any sign of disturbance, or are the waves just kind of real softly
It's a placid lake. Occasionally a water bug or two lands down, and it kind of makes a little ripple. And God, if you look, you might see like a frog hopping. But I think if you wanted to pay a little closer attention, I might need you to make a roll for that.
I
for
could be so
this.
inclined.
Perfect. I'm going to have you make a difficulty 5, which means you're going to need to roll a 15 or higher. Do you have
got
any
+1.
skills?
Got a +1 from the audience still.
Would you like to use that one
yeah.
to bring it down a level of ease?
I'd love to. I also, this sounds to me like an intellect, perhaps, and I do have edge in that.
Okay, so how you would use it, that with edge, you take 2 points out of your intellect pool instead of 3.
Okay. I'll go ahead and do that too, just to knock it down another.
Definitely. So normally you can only knock it down one level of ease. But because this is something granted to us by the audience, we'll have that second level of ease put down, which will bring it to a difficulty 3, which means you're going to have to roll a 9 or higher.
Easy peasy.
Well, you got
an 11, so
Hey.
narrow win. glad we bumped it down that second one.
Definitely. That's part of the fun of the system. You always get that option. But Zedikiah, if you kind of look out in the distance, it's nowhere near right by the shore, but a good maybe 50, 60 yards off, there's a long, dark shape under the water. And I swear, it's the moment you put your eyes on that, it just vanishes.
Oh. What
And
kind
the
of
lake,
Hey boys, what kind of fish was he going after today? I might have seen something out there.
I mean, he wasn't fishing no flies, Mr. Zedikiah. So I don't think he was bass fishing or anything. Gosh, I don't think we got any of the really big fish yet this season. So probably like the little bitty fish, the ones with the yellow on the side and everything.
No, this wasn't no small fish. Hattie, you been out on the water at all this year? I don't spend much time near the lake myself. I'm more of a townie.
No, I don't think I rightly do. I mean, I stick to the people too. But you could always check with Stump.
Stump out here today, or Stump back at their shack?
Stump get in the boat.
Don't get in the boat.
All right.
In fact, I think that might be when Stump shows up, even.
The voice emerges before you hear him
Stump got the
dragging the boat.
Oh, no, never mind. He's here now.
Well, all right, everybody. What are we dealing with out here?
You seen anything large in the waters these days? Kids were saying they were hunting some small fish with a yellow stripe, but I saw something just for a moment out there, and it was anything but small.
Well, let me think about that for a minute. Have I seen anything?
I'd let you make a roll to see if you can remember seeing anything.
I love that. My beard's
Perfect.
Crooked.
So you spend enough time out here in nature, Stump. So I'd give it to you for a difficulty 4. Means 12, unless you can argue me lower.
+1 from the
No.
audience.
I do have +1 from the audience. Thank you, Dixon. Do any of my skills come into play with stuff like this?
You tell me. Can you argue that those skills come into place?
Oh yeah, definitely. I have I am trained in hunting and swimming. Put those together, that's fish.
You go swimming to get your fish? Wow, real mountain man.
Yeah,
How do you get
catch
them?
them with his bare hands.
They just jump into his hands, so you're catching salmon.
Mm-hmm.
Just the non-modern day Grizzly Adams.
Now, I spend a lot of time hunting, which includes
Mhm.
fishing, and I also spend a lot of time swimming in these weird waters, which means I'm close to them, So I know if there's big things.
I'd let you have that for 1 degree of ease, just because this is not about necessarily what it is, but what you've seen.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm gonna roll a d20 and tell you what I got.
Yeah, you just got to get over a 6.
I can
with
do
the
it. Maybe.
if you're taking the audience.
Yeah.
Okay,
I want to
then
do
yeah.
that. That's a 1.
Oh.
How's that?
Fun things happen on ones.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Let me pull that right
Do
up.
tell. Good. I'm gonna
Good
fix my
buddies.
beard while you do that.
Well, in the cipher system, depending on how well or just how bad you roll, some fun things can happen.
I love fun.
When you roll a 17, 18, 19, or 20, good things happen. That one,
really good things.
Just as clarifying, because most of y'all are new. For one, I get a free intrusion, and y'all don't get an XP from it.
Ugh, that's the part that hurts.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna pocket that for later.
It's all yours.
Because you're just trying to recall Stump and I mean, hell's bells. You see plenty of weird things out here on the lake and the forest. I mean, the whole area, it's a little strange, and the green does the green, and the deep things do the deep things, and out on the lake, though, it's hard to tell.
Zedikiah was probably just a shadow from one of the clouds passing by. Ain't nothing bigger than a turtle in here.
Oh, well. If anybody would know, you would, I suppose. Must have just been
You're
a drink
darn
like...
right.
Or maybe it was... Maybe that's where Beatty is, over there. Of course, based on the boy's statements, he's been under the water for quite some time. We'll probably require a healer if we do manage to secure him.
Well, sure enough, here I am. Let's get in this boat and go.
Yep. I start scooting it out.
Yeah, I can direct you to where I saw that shadow. Perhaps he's still there.
Please do.
You're going to cast off about here. It's about 50 yards out. Right there. You might want to cast down a line. Yeah, you're getting close. You're getting close.
I will
Oh,
say,
we're him.
as we're headed toward this point, I did take See the Unseen. You
Mhm.
automatically perceive creatures and objects that are normally invisible, insubstantial, or hidden via magic. When looking for things more conventionally hidden, the task is eased. So, I'm a good looker.
You are. In fact, if you are so good looking, Ms. Euphonia, I'd let you make that roll.
Okay.
This will still be for you 15, so a level 5.
Okay. Shoot. 13.
I mean, it's if you're going out where Zedikiah saw the shadow, it's deep water out here. Hell, Frost Lake gets a lot deeper than you think it would. And anything lost out here might stay lost, but the boys did point out to Miss Hattie and Zedikiah that he just fell right off the docks, which much more shallow. But you saw nothing when you were casting off
No.
either.
Say anything?
Could I use a player intrusion with my
Sure, if
1
you-
XP that,
if you would
that
like
we were
to-
granted?
You use your 1 XP on that, you can.
For the sage, one of the options is a sudden vision. A flash of insight provides you with a clear answer or suggests a course of action with regard to an urgent question, problem, or obstacle you're facing.
Perfect. So for everyone that's not familiar with what an intrusion is, it is something that either a player or the GM can do to kind of alter the game. For GMs, it can make things a little harder for players. It's for those familiar with Powered by the Apocalypse, it's like the hard moves a GM would take. For a player intrusion, though, you're using up 1 of the XP, and it means they get to do something a little bit more power than their normal moves would let them have.
Let me solve the riddle.
I wish. How would this look, though, Euphonia, when you use this sort of thing, this kind of magic?
So I think all of Euphonia's powers are centered in caring for people, caring for her community. She grew up with her mama, checking on people and doctoring them, midwifing, all of that sort of thing. And so she has that gut instinct that she treats like gospel, and she doesn't question it, she just acts.
So you'd say this probably isn't quite from the green or anything?
I mean, I think it could be, but more of if I'm trying to think because I don't know how you want to classify solving the issue at hand. Suggesting a course of action. If there was something like she hears somebody call out or hears a splash or Jason Voorhees shows up on the edge of the lake, all of those things, just people oriented.
Yeah. Now, magic comes from anywhere. It's just sometimes when you call on the green, it demands some things back later on down the line.
Yeah. Which I'm happy to do, but
now, Ms. Euphonia is, if you wouldn't mind me saying, maybe your hand touches the water just a little bit. Because I think when it does, it's almost like you have been electrified. Your back just ramrod straight up from the boat, and it's...
You okay?
I don't think I am. There's something wrong with the water.
So
continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Hell, Stump, when you look at Euphonia, like, she's talking and her eyes are almost like white, like eyes rolled back in the back of her head. And as like you can hear Stump talking Euphonia, but it almost sounds like it is from miles away. And it's a quick vision. It's not a whole mess of things. But it's almost like you are under the water itself. When Mr. Beatty's pulled under, like you see a hand like start to like go under the water, like it's pulling up on a line. And yeah, you can see the line itself like in the water, but it kind of fades out and it's something very, very deep that shouldn't be there. Like there should not be anything this deep off the dock. But the water fades from this like light blue green, and you can see like the rough red silk clay bottom as it like sinks down, and something, you're not sure if it's like tentacles or like maybe something from like the bottom of the water comes up and just starts like tugging on the line itself, like multiple ones wrapping around it. And like the moment Mr. Beatty's hand touches in the water, that snatches him up too, and then he's just pulled down quick as a flash. And
when
just kind of fades.
When she comes back into herself, she'll look at Stump and say, something down there grabbed him. I don't know what it was. It wasn't anything that should be down there. But something took him.
His family's not going to be too happy about that. Let's go on in and tell the others.
Yeah. As you're rowing the boat back from the shore, you find him?
Hold on, I can't talk and row.
Fair enough.
I don't think they did, because if they did, wouldn't he be in the boat too?
Well reasoned, Hattie.
No, you've got me there, Hattie. That's. I guess I could just use my peepers.
Yeah, I thought you was one of them smart ones, but it don't seem like it.
I tend to let people speak their piece, but I suppose I could use my own powers of perception should the should the setting require.
We ain't found him.
I see the boat here now.
Yeah. As you can see,
no
by
sign
him
of
not being in the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that. Yeah.
You found something.
Did you see?
Yeah, I touched the water and something grabbed him. Something that ought not be down there pulled him down there with it. And I don't know what it was, but it was like it shook my whole body, like I put a fork in an outlet.
I think we're going to
Oh,
need a big fishing rod.
Something like it.
Perhaps Beatty saw something on his way in. If you all don't mind the presence of the dearly departed, I could try and usher him forth and bend his ear about this situation. Assuming, of course, he is dead. I won't be able to request his presence otherwise. Not without a subpoena, anyway.
I
I
don't
don't.
like the sound of that at all. I'm going to go stand over there by that tree. You do your thing.
I mean, I don't mind watching, but I don't know what a subpoena is.
Well, fancy enough. The dead don't usually require those, so he was hoping he doesn't answer the call. But if he does, then I suppose we'll have learned something. Harry Henry, do you have Mr. Beatty's tackle box over there? I need something of his in order to call his spirit forth.
I mean, he don't carry a tackle box, Mr. Zedikiah. But he left his bucket down there.
Bucket will do. Anything that he's been in contact with recently or thinks about often should be sufficient.
Like down at the end of that little dock, there's just an old metal bucket. Probably used to be used as like a lunch pail or something.
I think you described the stock as being somewhat ramshackle. How stable does it look?
It looks like something you can step on just fine. It's just not like something professionally built or anything you'd like cast off a boat from.
I think Zedikiah still takes a step on it, hears a one wooden board creak, steps back and goes, "Hey, Hattie, would you grab that for me?"
Yeah, I can. I'll skip down the dock and go get the bucket.
Your accent is impeccable. Incredible.
I'm a wanderer. I'm just picking shit up as I go.
How accents be sometimes.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
More often than not.
If you're skipping your way and you described Hattie as wearing every article of clothing she has, and described this as a well enough portion, but I don't know if it's designed for hopping.
It's men's clothes, and of course her hat that has little antlers on them. Can't forget that.
Love it.
Well, just be careful out there and bring the bucket on back, and I'll duck to the petition.
Yeah.
This might be a good time to describe what everyone looks like as well.
Before we do that, can I just quickly say that we've had some tips and some cheers, as well as our pluses and minuses. Myself and Heather both received a cipher, and everyone has 1 point of XP.
Perfect.
Ooh.
So, Sero and Heather, when you guys have a second, if you could give me a D100 roll.
Okay.
I gotta find dice.
Sorry, this is the one I did not consider having to warn y'all about.
63.
37.
Okay, 63 and 37. So another thing about the cipher system for everyone new to this is that ciphers are a big part of the game. They are little items that can usually do some pretty awesome things. It lets these otherwise normal human characters go a little beyond their means. We said 37 and 68.
63.
63. So, Sarah, you will get Dream Walk, which I will drop in our chat.
Ooh.
And Heather will get New Skin.
Terrifying.
Oh. Okay.
I do not like the name of that. No, thank you.
I don't know. You might want to like the name of that. It might be helping you out some. Them pretty fierce.
Okay. Little disguised self sort of thing. That's fun.
Some extra skin.
Yeah.
Who knows when you'll need it?
Change
Well,
lasts
yes.
for 24 hours, whether you want it to or not.
Very good.
Yeah, what does Hattie look like as she is hopping down this like 6-foot dock?
well, she's a bit of a wanderer, so she goes from town to town and just spins a random amount of time at each one, just doing a little circuit. So she's often traveling, which means she's got really nowhere to stay long term. So she just wears all of her clothing. And she's got a big woolen overcoat over top of that. And she's got a floppy hat with some little antlers sticking out the top, which she says helps her attract the voices so she can talk to them better. Just like a little antenna. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. She's getting FM, not AM.
Yeah. That's all
But
you
yeah,
really need to know.
Hattie, you don't even need to roll to scoop up a bucket or anything or hop back. But when you look off the dock, you do notice you can see clear through to the bottom from right there.
I see the bottom. There's nothing down there.
You just see like occasionally little minnow fish swimming by, and you can see like the deep red of the clay bank, and it's a good distance out before it even drops out of sight. So something to note.
If you see yourself in there, it ain't you drowning. Don't jump in. It's a reflection. Trust me.
Are you speaking from experience there, Stump? Because I know if I jump in, I'm gonna die because I'm wearing all my layers.
You look great, though.
Wow. Wow, that was exceptionally awkward.
Well, I'll be taking
I
that
love it.
bucket.
I have an inability of social interactions.
it
I
was
want everyone to
perfect.
know.
Perfectly
Nailed
shows.
it. Yeah.
Gotta do something better if you're recording there, Mr. Stump. But Hattie, if you're bringing the bucket back, and are you handing it over to Mr. Zedikiah?
Yeah, yes'm.
Zedikiah will take the bucket in his hands. Well, I guess we'll do the descriptions right now too. He's wearing a suit that was well tailored, probably 5 or 6 years past, but Zedekiah has put on a little bit of weight since then, so it's not quite fitting in all of the right places. He's got a face that, again, 10 years ago was probably very handsome, but now between the deep bags under his eyes and the way his glasses kind of shrink his eyes in a way, you still get a little bit of that kind of beautiful symmetry of the features. He's got his hair nicely combed over to one side, but he looks just a little bit beaten down by the times.
Which
and
everyone does these years.
Yeah, nothing's quite right. And as he picks the bucket up, he kind of gives it a jingle, hears the mush sloshing around the bottom, and seems to give like a knowing nod, like this will be sufficient. And he goes back up to the shore and begins to sketch. At first, he goes to dip his toe in the dirt, and then stops, looks down at his already slightly scuffed leather shoes, and kind of shakes his head and looks around. Harry, hand me that stick over. Perfect. And then takes the stick and then etches a circle in the dirt, draws a few lines, and then stands back and, all right, Beatty? Just the two of us out here on the lake right now. No hangers on. Shoo, everybody, get over there to the side a little bit. It's just the two of us out here. Nothing going on. If you're nearby, if you're in the mood for some company, I just had a couple of quick questions. Don't worry. If you are in fact deceased, those back taxes that you owe the IRS, they're not going to be hounding you for those anymore. So you don't have to worry about any of that paperwork. It's just the two of us having a nice chat out here on the water. If anyone's there. And Zedekiah reaches into a pocket on his vest and pulls out like a little like almost like a sleigh bell, and he gives it a little ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. And then he tucks it back in and just kind of stands there awkwardly, his hands kind of clasped around his chest, kind of. looking around, hoping that this spirit shows up.
Is this an ability that you have, Zedikiah?
Yes, this is Question the Spirits. This will cost me 2 intellect points. I call a spirit to you and petition it to answer a few questions, usually no more than 3 before the spirit fades. I must summon the spirit if they're dead or I've personally known them. I have to have an object that was owned by the creature or touch the physical remains. In this case, I found an object. Yada yada yada. And then if the spirit responds, it can manifest as an insubstantial shade that answers for itself. It can inhabit an object or any remains I provide, or it can manifest as an invisible presence that I speak for. Spirit might not want to answer your questions, in which case you must persuade it to help, or you can attempt to physically wrestle with the spirit into submission, or you can try diplomacy, deception, or blackmail, etc. I have provided the sloshy fish gut contents of this bucket should he wish to manifest through that, or other means are also perfectly acceptable.
Chum scrying is a new one. That's good.
I mean, he could always
Brand
talk through
new.
me.
That's also true.
And by the way, I'm just sitting there. I've popped a squat and I'm watching.
We all got our hands on our chins watching.
And does this cost you anything? Or
Yeah,
does it say
2
a
intellect
number
points.
next to it? Okay, make
His
sure you
eternal
subtract those
soul.
from your pool.
I've been marking them down. Thankfully, I have a handsome investment in that category.
That's what we like to hear. See. Because it's weird, Mr. Zedikiah. Usually, when you do this sort of thing, the spirit manifests pretty quickly and it's usually always right. When you reach out to Mr. Beatty's spirit, though, it's almost like you are hitting a proverbial wall. Like you keep hitting into it, and not that he isn't dead. You can feel something, but there's a block there. Instead, about how long you been around this town?
I figure I've been in this town for the last 15 years or so. Been plying my trade here ever since I left my previous practice that I apprenticed under down yonder.
Right. So you might not know the spirit as well at this older gentleman that forms into view. Skin kind of loose on him, definitely with age, but looks a few years younger than when you would have seen Mr. Beatty's father on his deathbed.
Hello there, sir. I was trying to reach Beatty.
And this is Eustace Beatty.
and so I do or don't recognize him. Quick.
You would recognize him just like a little bit. He
Okay.
would have passed away about 10 years hence or so.
Okay.
But you can mostly tell this would probably be Eustace Beatty.
Is that you, Eustace? I was looking for your son actually, but you seen him in your neck of the woods recently?
He like leans forward. No glasses though. He probably should as he squints at you. Oh, you're that slick talking lawyer that came into town. Why are you still here, boy?
Well, circumstances mostly. The missus has no plans on moving, so I hang around these parts. You're still haunting these lands, I see. Still feeling quite partial to them too. I can tell. You see anything out on the water today? And anything around about your son who was fishing here?
There's always some weird Haints out here. You know, it's Frost Lake. Never been a right kind of place. But except my son's dead.
I'm sorry to report that.
Well, Bertram didn't have any more sense in his head than a pine tree, but oh, I ain't seen him over here yet.
Any other spirits been acting strange lately? I've been noticing, well, folks have been a little bit skittish over in your neck of the woods. I wonder if that has anything to do with your son's absence as well.
He just kind of like taps on his chin. I mean, we ain't had anyone out from Elegy crossover in about a year since Miss Ethel, which is just like an older granny that moved into town from her farm. Passed away about a year and a half ago.
So he's saying he hasn't seen anybody from this town in a year and a half come through to the other side.
Not that you can hear, but yes.
Okay. Out of the game. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think with that, Zedikiah will turn towards get everybody's names right. Euphonia. Hey, Euphonia.
Yeah.
Beatty Senior here says he hasn't seen no spirits. Their parts newly added for the last year and a half or so. You're more close to the medical end of things than I.
A
People
year and
have
a
passed in
half?
that time.
Laws, yes. A year and a half? What is... Whatever that thing in the lake is must be holding on to the spirits. I don't know how or why, but a year and a half.
Well,
Laws,
that's at
we've
least what
probably
Beatty
had...
reports.
We've... trying to think. We probably had 30 people, maybe 40. And that's not counting any of these fools that have gone missing because of the railroad people.
It probably wouldn't be that many in a small town like Elegy. Population's only maybe about 200 on a good day.
Enough.
A lot of
Fair enough.
visitors, tourists,
Yeah.
they'll die.
Like,
maybe that counts the number of people who are missing now, too.
yeah, like only maybe about half a dozen people would have died in the last year and a half from like the town proper.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, sounds like there should be some who've joined you. Well, if that's not happening, well, would you mind keeping an eye out for me for your son? Will you drop by my ear and let me know if you find him? We'll continue the hunt as well, but I have a fear that there's something that we're not perceiving in this situation that may well drag us all under if we're not careful.
I mean, I can keep an eye out, but he always could have gone to a different direction. You know that, right?
Well, ultimate destinations are just that, ultimate. Oftentimes, with this level of closeness, he'd at least make a kind appearance before departing to, well, wherever he's meant for. Just let me know if he, casts an eye round about home before he heads on.
Trust me, if he's just passing through his mama going to tan his hide so loud you'll hear it.
I'll keep an ear here peeled for it. If I don't hear those peals of, well, not laughter, the other one, well, we'll keep an eye out.
Got anything else you need from me, boy?
Well, seeing as this conversation was mighty impromptu, please, your time is yours. You carry on having a fine day out on the lake.
Right. And he just like gives like a stiff nod and kind of fades away.
Zedikiah promptly like leans down over the bucket, picks it back up, hands it to Hattie. I'm not sure if we're gonna need this at all, but might do to hold on to it. But Beatty Senior hasn't seen hide nor hair of his kin. He knows that he should be around, but something seems to be interfering in a way. As I mentioned earlier, a year and a half gone by, and ain't nobody made their way around the spectral edition of these parts. Sounds admittedly quite suspicious.
Hattie's gonna pour some liquid into the bucket of guts and then sprinkle some of the liquid over Zedikiah.
Hattie, why are we doing
Yes,
this?
Oh, it's a old superstition. If you've been talking with the dead or anywhere near the dead, you should puritize yourself with spirits of a different kind. And she's like, moonshine.
Moonshine with fish guts?
Well, there was my own little flavoring of it, but I mean, you're the one who talked to a man with fish guts.
Don't worry, the missus will be delighted about this later. This. If any of you have been to the house of Zedikiah at some time before, he is not married. The missus is his cat.
Do we know
Delightful.
that? I probably know that. I'm like, maybe you should carry the bucket then.
Well, I'd rather not indulge her likeness of these sorts of things. I mean, perhaps we hold on to that and cast it for the fishes.
Stump, you want some?
I was muted. I do apologize. No, we can just put it right in the boat. I took a little nap while he was talking to the ghost, and now I understand everything that's going on.
All right, so let's talk about this for a second. We have got to figure out how to get down there to that thing, how to bring it up here to us. What we can't let it keep taking folks. Anybody got any bright ideas?
I mean, we could ask for volunteers to be taken.
Well, you gonna volunteer for that, Hattie? That doesn't sound like a fun job.
Hells no, I'm gonna go to the next town
Yeah.
over.
That's what I thought.
I mean, unless Bob says I
man.
should just jump in the lake, but Bob's not here right now, so I'm staying on the ground.
I did have the same inclination.
Jump in the lake?
Yeah, but I think it might end poorly.
I'd
gonna
say
say-
so.
As y'all are talking, the two Parker boys have been kind of like elbowing each other back and forth as they look like wide-eyed at Zedikiah. No, you talk to him. You. No.
Spit it out!
And they both like straighten up and look, it's just that Mama says that the people that talk to ghosts, they're witches. Just like Granny Adel out of town. And Mr. Zedikiah, are you a witch?
Zedikiah will walk over and kind of drop down, squatting, bending his knees. Now, boy, the ghosts are denizens of this world, same as you and me.
So
just as real,
you are
just as
talking to
dear.
Haints.
Well, the Haints are just folks like us. They call this place just as much their home. We share it with them. Nothing to be scared of, nothing to be concerned with. They're carrying on with their lives. We carry on here with ours. We just got
but
different concerns is all.
But what about the Haints that ride your back at night? That's why you wake up so tired in the morning.
Oh, those are just old wives' tales. There's no Haints that do that sort of thing. If you're dealing with something like that, you're dealing with some measure of a demon or something else to be, a mite bit more spooked by. The Haints ain't got no business on your shoulders. They got more important things to do than mess with you in your sleep.
See, he ain't no witch, Harry.
And you tell your mama that she ought not be saying such things about Granny. She never hurt nobody. Isn't that right?
They look at each other. Yes'm. Yes, ma'am.
That's what I thought, and you could tell her I said that too.
We're all doing our part here in this town. The people, ghosts alike. Ain't nobody here that's causing you any danger except for this here lake. So you boys are gonna keep your feet out of it, you hear?
Yes, Mr. Zedikiah. Yes, sir.
All right, now you run back to your mother, let her know what's happened out here, and we'll carry on looking for what's left of Beatty and all those other unfortunate folks who've met an early end out here.
And they will both run back and tell Miss Honey Parker everything that happened here.
Oh boy.
And Miss Honey Parker ain't gonna shut her mouth for love nor money.
Well, there's some stories that need to be spread around town if this lake's going to be as dangerous as it is. I figure there's no better way than to sensationalize it a little bit with stories of Haints in danger.
Now what?
So if Stump's not hopping in the lake, how do we figure we're gonna...
I could if you think it's a good idea.
Well,
I don't think it's a good idea for any of us to go down by ourselves.
That's fair.
I mean, if
I
someone
think
go down with
I like
him,
even
then
less where that's going.
if someone go down with him, then he ain't going down by himself.
Maybe we tie a rope around my waist. And I go in like a sinking stone. What you think about that?
How long can you hold your breath?
Well, it's a mighty fine question. I reckon there's one way to find out.
I reckon there's at least two.
That's a good point. Let's not think of the other one, though.
I can think of a third.
Well, now I am intrigued.
Now you've piqued the group's curiosity, Hattie. What's the third way?
Yeah, tell us.
Well, it requires the removal of all the layers and then some laying. And you're learning if he can breathe through his ears or not.
Hattie, you have a fantastical mind.
Thank you.
Well, I guess I better start getting undressed.
There were two other ways before the third one. There's
plenty other things outside of that too.
I do have water-resistant clothes, which is a great item. I didn't know I picked all the right items for this.
Really laying it out.
Don't know how much that will help. Yeah, I'm gonna get in my water-resistant one-piece big sleepy time underwear with the butt flaps, and I've got my hunting knife
for the butt flap.
Hopefully it's not how the Haints get in.
Well, we know they don't ride on shoulders.
They don't ride on your shoulders. They don't go in through your butt flaps. I know there's all sorts of stories going around about the Haints, but they're just like you and me, I promise. Except as they don't have any corporeal form.
We all know this is a terrible idea, so I'm going to give you this end of the rope. I'm going to tie this here end of the rope to myself.
Right, so what do I do when the dark shadow I saw in the water earlier carries you off to the deep?
You give me a tug, hard as you can.
And if that is not sufficient?
Well, can I tie myself to the other end, and then we put Hattie and Zedikiah on the road as well, on the rope as well?
I think that's a great idea.
I am trained in might defense tasks, but I'm not, like, I can't pull or move or break things very well. So I could, like, stabilize something, but I can't tug.
You keep all those city words to yourself. You just pull the rope when I tug it, okay?
He just wants us all to tug on him.
Again, if anyone wants to talk me out of this, now's the time.
Oh,
Stump,
man.
I've tried
my
to talk
big
you out of
knife.
worse ideas before, so.
Big knife. Big water-resistant clothes.
This seems like such a terrible idea.
To be fair, it's not one I thought y'all would have either.
Well,
why not?
If we're gonna commit to this, we've got a bucket of chum and moonshine. We best douse him in it first so that he smells good and fishy before we throw him.
Well, now hold on 1 second. I'm trying to have a look around, not be bait.
Oh, we had different understandings of what was going on here. It sounded to me like you were gonna go and fish quite manually for the creature, and we would move on along from there. And if we don't maybe we don't soak you in it. Maybe we just throw it in the water in front of you, so it's coaxed forward.
I already splashed it on him.
Never a good idea.
Well, let's do it.
So it begs the question, Stump, are you going out into the middle of the wake to toss yourself in, or are you tossing yourself off the dock?
I have 50 feet of rope, personally. I don't know if anyone else has rope or if this place has rope.
I might. I gotta.
I mean,
50
you
feet's
can't
not a
see
lot.
anything. Yeah. You don't see much out on the lake or anything like that, just looking around because it's hard times and people ain't going to leave something that's expensive to rope around.
So I got 50 feet.
Well, do we go out in the boat and let you drop down from
dangerous.
there? It does indeed.
That boat won't be able to hold us.
Safe?
Let's try this off the dock first thing, and if nothing bites, we go off the boat.
Well, I don't know that's a good one, but it's a plan.
So, are you just walking in or jumping off?
I'm going to ease myself in from the dock and then move forward.
Okay, and about how tall is Stump?
Stump is a short man, not tall. He's about as short as he is wide. So, like, just over 5 feet.
Yeah, Stump, as you ease yourself in, you can feel the bottom of the lake pretty quickly. That kind of squishy, textured mud, and there's only like a foot above you before you hit the surface. How long are you trying to stay down under?
I mean, I'll go down and look around, and then pop back up, look around, see if anything's, fin in the water coming at me. But I'm going to go down and take a peek in the murk.
Sure.
I guess as soon as you're submerged.
Yeah, we'll go with
as soon as you're submerged, I'll gesture to Hattie to throw the bucket dump the chum in the
Great.
river.
I literally throw the whole bucket.
Ow!
But she said throw the bucket.
Good enough.
Surprisingly, that's going to bring the difficulty up one,
Oh,
Sure.
that's unfortunate.
which
Feeling
is going to
good about
make
this
it
roll.
a challenge 5 difficulty rating. So you got to roll over a 15.
He does have a +1 to roll.
Do you
I
want to bring
do.
that difficulty down?
I need to bring that difficulty down.
Can we argue that since we're holding on to the rope and trying to stabilize here, ready to act, we could ease it another step, possibly?
I cannot gain benefit when I get help from another character.
What? Why not?
Rude.
Because I am a loner.
Wow.
So I will say you do have a swimming skill,
I do.
right?
Swimming and navigation.
Which would bring this down to a 9.
I can do it. I can do that. I'm just gonna roll this dice and tell you what I get. How about that?
What was with that eyebrow when you said swimming and navigation?
I'm telling you, I
Gesture
can
and
only
eyebrow.
emote with one thing. So I'm gonna point with my eyebrows. Everything's getting eyebrows. That is a 19 on the dice.
Woo!
And the
don't know
thing
what it
is,
To
a
see it.
19 in a cipher system game gives you a little bit of a bonus. And I'm pulling that back up.
Let's go, Stump. Hydrate. That's good. Mask
Hydrate.
break. Beard break. Wow, I am full Zedikiah right now.
You've got a
Stealing
neat
the whole
beard
load.
going on.
Yeah.
So, as mentioned earlier, when you roll a 17, 18, 19, or 20, this counts as a special roll. With a 19, you get a minor effect. If the roll was a damage dealing attack, it would deal 3 extra damage.
Oof.
If it is something other than attack, you get a minor effect in addition to the normal result, which of course means you pass. I guess Stump, the fish must be hungry today, at least, because what Hattie throws in, they just kind of go for, and it doesn't really even obscure that much. You just have like a little bit of like some perch underneath your head, kind of swimming by, scooping up everything, which feels weird to have a fish on your head. But you can be down here for a good amount of time. You're trained in swimming. I'd say up on the dock, y'all kind of watch as the rope goes out a little bit farther as Stump kind of moves around. How long have you lived in the town, Stump?
Trick question. I've never lived in the town, but I lived outside of it for, I don't know, well over a decade.
But you've been around here long enough. You kind of notice in like the mud and everything, some parts of it aren't that deep red, and back look a little more. Some parts like pale stone where that peeks through, and then like that sandy brown muck. And you got to think to yourself for a second that it must have happened over time, but Lake Frost didn't always have this river clay. Yeah, heck, that stuff usually only happens much farther south. But it's traveled up here somehow, or at least got into the lake.
So Hattie threw the bucket at me. I'm going to go up and get the bucket and go back down and scoop some of this foreign clay.
The brown or the red?
Hard. The clay that's not supposed to be here.
So that's just the same clay that's up on the shore, I will say, is that dark red clay. But if you want to bring the other kind up, you can.
Yes.
Easily. And You do, when you look out, you do see that it seems to get a lot more obscured the more, like, the farther out you get. And it's hard to see, like, out in the distance, but you think you start to see a shadow. And the fact that you're looking at it at the same time when you catch that glimpse, it just kind of shrinks back into like a pit, like back into just lake water, like that foggy blue green that it always is.
I go up. Well, ain't no lake monsters down here. Just a bunch of weird clay. That's a pretty good sized fish if you want to throw a line in.
Well,
I
I'll
don't think any
I'll
of us
show the
brought a
bucket to
line.
my friends.
The people just happen to be around you.
Yeah.
we're friends. We can be friends.
I think mechanically I can't be anyone's friend, but I do appreciate the sentiment.
So I'd like the three of you to go ahead and just make like a level 1 difficulty roll. And that's just a 3. You got to beat.
19.
16.
18.
13.
Woo!
Well, Stump didn't have to make one, but
I just like
Something
to
like-
be in the
that's
party.
fine.
Someone can have mine.
Yeah. You all look at it, and it's just that red. Like it's not the red clay that you're used to. Except y'all shouldn't be used to that red clay. The more you think about it, it's a little weird. This is just a muddy bottom lake, and that should be just muddy bottom lake mud. That dark, like blonde, like that dark brown mud that squishes between your fingers, and the occasional like sediment mixed in, making it a little tan. But red, you don't know when the lake turned red. Ms.
I'm not
Euphonia.
terribly
Yes.
acquainted with. Oh, go ahead.
Ms. Euphonia, I'd say you, as you're kind of like considering this, and like out of the corner of your eye, you think you catch something on the opposite shore. It, not easy to tell, but it looks like it could be a person, but there are just not enough details.
I'll wave, try and yell and get some attention.
The moment you start making any noise towards them, you just like watch as they like turn around and disappear back into the woods. You can see kind of like the tail of a skirt flicking up as they kind of hurry back.
Okay. Stump, Hattie, y'all are usually out on your own. Do y'all know a woman who hangs out over on that side of the lake?
I don't think I do.
I don't usually hang out at the lake. Like I said, I like people watching in the town.
What they look like? What were they doing?
She was standing over there. I saw the flash of a skirt as she walked away from the shoreline.
Well, maybe someone who's not soaking wet can go check that out.
Fair enough.
I'm soaking wet.
would it be more efficient to get in the boat and go across or to walk around?
Depends on how fast you row.
Okay. Is there a check I can make to determine how quickly I would do that?
Yeah, how often does Euphonia captain in a boat?
Well, I don't know that she captains a boat very often, but she's hardy. She's used to doing what needs doing, whatever that is, helping with a calf birth or setting an arm or any of those sorts of rigorous physical activities.
To get across pretty quickly, I would ask you to make it a difficulty 3, so a 9.
Okay. I will do that.
You have
And I am
+1.
trained in might defense tasks.
This wouldn't
With
be a
that,
defense task.
Fair enough. Well, then I will just use 3 points from my pool to ease that.
You've also got a +1 from the audience.
Yeah, I'm holding on to that.
Oh, fair enough.
If you want to
so that
use
was
the
with
3, go ahead, and
11.
it'll make that a 6.
Yeah. And I got a 10.
Perfect. Yeah, you're a strong stock, Euphonia, and it doesn't take you long, but definitely moving faster than you would to like walk around. Were you taking anyone with you?
Oh, I was going to ask if anybody wanted to come. Great.
We established you could take one person.
Mm-hmm.
Accepted.
I'll help Stump get dry.
Start blowing real hard. I'll spin around.
I was figuring I'd help you gather sticks for a small fire.
No, I was just kidding with you. Of course we'll grab sticks for a fire.
I can never tell with you, Stump. You just willingly threw yourself into a river where a man just disappeared. For all I knew, you wanted me to blow on you.
Also, this is like a late Indian summer kind of fall, so it's high in the afternoon. Ain't going to take much time to get dry, just about maybe 20 minutes. You still want to build a fire, though, that's on you.
And I actually...
Idle hands and all that.
While we were doing descriptions, I actually found a Dorothea Lange picture from the Depression era. So that's a Mrs. Cohen from 1932.
Ooh.
So she is serving as Euphonia this evening.
We love to see. Yeah. Euphonia, Hattie, you two make it to the other side. So, what exactly are you doing?
Well, I'll aim for where I saw that entity, pull the boat up on the shore and start looking.
All right. So if you're just trying to look either for her or for tracks or something, I would make that a challenge, difficulty level 5. So I'm going to need you to hit 15 or higher.
Okay. And can I ease that with my See the Unseen?
You can ease it down to a 12.
A 12.
You want your +1?
Right. I think I'm gonna shoot for it. 14.
Perfect. So it does take you a little bit of searching, Euphonia, but you do see they stand out to you because there are plenty of tracks out here. It's Elegy, it's a small town, and plenty of people hunt for their food and fish for their food. Usually not in these dainty little shoes, though. You see tracks clearly defined with the heel and the sole of a nice little walking boot. Not nothing made for a muddy
tromping around.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that interesting? city folk out here. Hattie, you down for some adventuring?
Yep. I'm ready and raring to go.
Fantastic. And I guess we'll try and follow those tracks wherever she went off to.
All right, you waiting for the boys, or y'all just
I
running?
don't know, are we? We'll set a little trail marker. We went that way. Surely Stump will be able to track us.
Hopefully. Yeah, Hattie, Euphonia, you follow these tracks. It takes a little while, and there's a few false starts because, like, as you leave, like, the lake area, of course, the ground, it's a little bit drier. It's not wet enough to leave, like, actual deep imprints, so trying to, like, follow this track, it's a little bit harder. Eventually, though, you hit the main road. And it's, I'm not gonna say impossible to keep up with these tracks, but next to.
The main road, is that going back into town, or is that headed toward the railroad community?
I mean, how Elegy is built like almost like a T,
Okay.
with one heading out towards like the main road, one heading like deeper to like the farmlands and everything, like out to where all the farmers are at and their acreage, and then another one that heads like out toward the lake. So this isn't like the main road like in Elegy, but it's the main road Elegy spreads off of. So
Okay.
if you could go either way, like you could keep going. Like if you wanted to go west, you could probably follow this like full west all the way to like Chattanooga or something.
Sure. But the reasonable conclusion would be that it was somebody from town.
From town. If you wanted to go east, you would eventually hit where the railroad's being built at, and like the little community kind of built off from that with all the Yanks from north.
Can we see what direction the tracks may have gone on at all, or
You can. I will say this will be because of this is now the main road. But horses come through here, cars and trucks come through here, people come through here. It's going to be a target number of a 6, so 18.
Do you want to try for it, or me?
You got it.
would it be? Would it be intellect, or because I got
You just
nothing other
roll.
than intellect.
If you wanted to take something out of a pool to ease it, you would take 3 out of intellect.
You do have a +1.
I do have a +1. I also have a -1.
Well,
We both have +1s. What do you reckon?
well, I have a cipher that I can use to ease. That I could eat to ease 3 steps.
Oh.
Yeah, do that because I don't.
Yeah, you know how
Yeah.
to play this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what cipher are you using, Ms. Euphonia?
So this Euphonia, she's got a little doctor's bag that she carries with her. It's like a satchel instead of a doctor's bag. And she reaches down on the bottom and starts rooting around and pulls out this it looks like a rope, honestly. It's like braided, but it's candy. It's molasses taffy. And she picks it out and starts kind of chomping on it idly while she is looking around trying to decipher this mess of tracks. So that's, you'd set it at a 6 difficulty,
Yeah, so
right?
it'd be an 18, which would bring it down with 3
to a
to 9.
9. Okay,
Let's go.
You got this.
13.
Perfect.
We
Yeah,
squeaking through.
Euphonia, I'm sure whoever made that taffy for you was a gift and a payment for something mighty good you did to return, and you can almost taste that granny's hands as she worked that into that weird little eye. But the magic kind of spreads through you. It feels soft and green and fresh and kind of energizes you a little bit. And it's almost like a hawk eye, like finding a bug on the ground. You see a few of these prints heading east.
And that was toward the
Railway.
railroad.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm not so good at cardinals.
it's okay. Now the railroad's getting built east to west. So
Well, might have known it was one of those out-of-towners. Might have known.
So are you-
Technically, ain't I out of towner as well until I'm in town.
I mean somebody who ain't from around here, Hattie.
Hattie, are you
Somebody-
from around here long term?
I wander around the area.
I figure Hattie is like an institution at this point.
Uh-huh.
Probably
Could be.
a seasonal traveler around set towns.
Yeah.
Maybe your
yeah.
kin come from Elegy,
Sure.
but
You've been around long enough that Euphonia considers you part of the community.
Where I found
those
Bob.
other two are questionable, though.
Yeah.
And so does that mean that Euphonia, Hattie, y'all are making your way east?
I mean, yes, I guess we should wait on the guys at this point. No, they're
Yeah,
shaking their heads.
No, mark the road. Keep going.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for splitting the party, but we got to reunite at some point.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah, what are you guys going to do other than, help him
Make
with his
s'mores.
layers?
We're making a fire at the lakeside right now. Okay, we're being extremely productive.
We're watching the scene of the crime
Yeah.
to make sure no one else disappears. Very
So is that what
important
you
work.
boys are doing as we focus back in on y'all?
Yeah, right?
So
I have
you were down
an
there in
ability
the-
called Inside Voice. It says using my voice, I can speak into the mind of someone you choose, but it says within a short range. How short is short? Like, can I tell them to hurry the fuck up, or
So it wouldn't be within this range, unfortunately. There is
Yeah.
actually like a distance kind of thing that there is in Cypher. Where y'all are kind of at between these two, not really short distance, more like a very long distance, but short distance is kind of like anything 50 feet or less.
like rope length? Gotcha.
Yeah. You could have talked to Everett in the lake.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I could have been whispering sweet nothings and encouragement to him. He was
Yep.
down.
That would have been so
When he went
nice. He would have
down.
loved that.
Yeah,
would
how
much
much are
prefer if you're going to have those kind of conversations to keep it between two of you. So
hmm
technically, yeah.
Technically, yeah.
Well, only what you can someone respond though when you whisper, or you just have it a one-way conversation?
Two-way. It says two-way.
Okay.
But you must be willing. They must be willing. Is he willing?
Well, we'll worry about that walkie-talkie later.
Yeah.
But how long are y'all boys sitting out there by the lake?
Well, certainly until Stump is dry. We're we're
I
also
brought
like
another pair of clothes, so
we the mystery deepened. You brought another pair of clothes. Were you expecting to take a dip in the water today, or?
no, I just carry most everything with me. You never know when it might rain.
All right.
This is more of like a GM question. Did that mean like
Yeah.
Stump has been sitting buck the entire time?
No, I have my normal clothes, and then I have a pair of water-resistant clothes. So I went into the water-resistant to jump in, and then have changed behind a tree. Real polite,
Okay.
like.
Ah.
I say then it wouldn't be much time that you probably spend more time building the fire than
Well, the
you
beard's
do.
not going to dry itself.
Yes,
Truth.
the beer is what takes the time.
Mhm.
I did want to ask you, Stumble, while you were down there, anything catch your eye? Anything reach out to you?
Well, no, I kind of hoped it would have, I'll be honest with you, but I did see a sort of figure. But then it went away, but nothing came for me, no. I was thinking I saw maybe a shape, but maybe not a shape, could just been a cloud. Causing a shadow in the water, you know how clouds do.
I don't necessarily understand their greater nature, but I have witnessed clouds before, certainly. Never
What'd you
from
see when you saw that shadow? See any
I,
fins
I
or
I
tentacles or?
I just saw something long, something twisting in the water. It was from a distance such that I can't say for sure what it was, but I was hoping originally that it was perhaps the low floating body of Beatty. Maybe he was still, around, but we didn't see hide nor hair of him underneath the water. He went in over here by the dock. Clearly, something is in the lake, and it's hungry.
Mm.
But it wasn't interested in you.
I ain't found no body parts by the dock or nothing. No fingers or toes or socks or nothing.
It's hungry in the complete way. It wants the whole package meal.
You think it
Hear
got
me out.
that meal and went somewhere else?
Well, you let me know if this is crazy or not, because maybe it is. But I'm just thinking. I'm trying to think outside of the box. I've been living in town for too long, trying to connect more with the natural forces here. Perhaps because we were seeking after it in particular, it was less willing to reveal itself. Or in the same way that when I'm trying to talk to a particular ghost who doesn't want to be spoken to, sometimes they'll ignore the call and I'll have to stumble upon them through more natural means. What if we went fishing and we went to catch some fish? And who knows what else happens while we're trying to catch some fish?
You think if we ain't looking for it, we might find it?
I'm thinking there are some forces that don't want to be found, but they still exist and they're still around. So if you aren't hunting into them, it's like running into your mother-in-law at the grocery store. Neither of you expected the interaction, but if you go to the same grocery store often enough, eventually coincidences will be what they are.
I like where your head's at. If we go fishing, worst thing is we catch a fish and we cook some dinner.
And wait, did you say that was the worst thing?
Yep.
Definitely.
The best thing is we found what took that boy. Worst thing is we get dinner. I think those are pretty good options. Third thing, I get naked, apparently.
Yeah, so I've heard the third option can involve that. Maybe let's steer away from that one for now and focus on the fishing.
Yeah, I think so. Or even sunset.
You happen to
I
have
guess
a
we're
line?
going fishing.
I guess y'all are.
The fishing mystery.
It's
so
just
we don't want
like
another location mystery.
it's just like all Southerners. The men go fishing and the women solve the problems.
Yeah, always.
We're just trying to live our roles here.
So I imagine one of you has equipment somewhere.
Did they lose their equipment when he got took?
I mean, he was trying to pull in something, so it kind of took him and his rod with him. So there is now the empty bucket, and that's about it.
We got a stick. We got some rope.
We established earlier that Stump uses his hands to fish.
Yeah.
He's like a noodler or something. So
We're gonna put my knife on a stick, I think. We'll do some spearing. That's easy.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
easy.
you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah,
I want them
split the end of
both
a
to
stick,
roll.
jam the knife
They
in
both
there.
get turns.
Oh, he won't get his shoes wet.
Yeah, I'm intending to watch from the dock. I'll go that far out, but I intend not to get this body immersed in the water. No thank.
And it's still like bright out, right? We don't have to worry about.
No, it's like 3 p.m. Like
Cool.
even out, it's August, late August, so it doesn't even get dark in the mountains until at least 6 or 7.
All right, I've got simple medical items and
Mhm.
rations. I should be able to make some sort of a bait line here, or at least use the chum bucket. I think we already dumped all that though. But
Yeah.
I'll throw some rations in the water and then stand there perfectly still with my newly made spear.
Sure, let's go with a task difficulty of 2. That'll be a target number 6.
I am trained hunter.
We could do that at target number 3.
I think you have a -1.
I do have a -1.
You
So let's
do.
go back up.
Back to hitting the 6.
Yep.
Well, the trick is you gotta stand real still. That's a 6. What does that mean? A failure?
No, meets it, beats it.
Yeah.
Meets it, beats it.
So, Stump, you're standing there very still, very focused, and you throw a spear in, and you get a nice little perch out of it.
There's bait.
Well, if anything, this will cook up nice.
Hey, it's a start. After all, we're not looking for anything else. We're just here to fish.
Just here
Just
fishing.
normal folks here having a beautiful day on the lake, here to catch a handful of fish for dinner.
No ulterior motives.
No ulterior motives, nothing else we're here for at all. Just here for some good old-fashioned perch. Maybe a trout? We would take a trout.
Hell, I'll take a catfish.
I'd love a catfish. I'm actually real partial to a nicely fried catfish, so.
I like anything with whiskers.
Gosh, that sounds good.
I'll let the missus know. She'll appreciate that.
Are you attempting to fish?
Absolutely not. I am watching him fish from a safe distance, delighted at the fish that has been caught.
How about
I think for him though?
I mean, I was going to ask, how long are you going to be fishing?
Until they get back.
Wow.
I think I do have we do have like the rope that had been tied around him, and especially if you went in waiting to do your spear fishing. I think we still have the rope tied around around Stump, and I think that Zedikiah does have the other end of the rope on the dock. He has, for better or worse, I think, kind of like pulleyed it around one of the legs of the dock, like where it goes down into the water, hoping that that's a smart thing to do and not an awful thing to do. But really, that's just for a little bit of stability for Stump, because again, we're not looking for anything.
Mm-mm.
We're
Right.
just going fishing. We're
Just making
just
sure the tide don't take me.
That's right. Exactly.
Funny,
We're only worried about the tide. We're just here to fish.
funny you say that because an intrusion has just been given to Alyss.
Perfect.
Oh,
I still have one intrusion in the pocket. So,
There's two
Zedikiah.
people at the lake.
Intrusion.
you're just watching from the shore, right?
Yeah, the very edge of the dock.
Sure. Yeah. Like, are you just focused on the lake?
I am just focused. I'm doing my best to not be focused on the lake. I'm just focused on Stump. I'm cheering him on as he's spearing these fish. I'm casually, at the best of my ability, casually enjoying our time here at the lakeside.
Perfect. Because this is going to help you notice, like, out, like, maybe about 50, 60 yards, like where the tree line is just starting to get a little bit deeper into the forest, like at the edge of right before it like starts to turn into mountains on this side. You see like two reflective eyes in the distance. And like right above that, two more pop up, followed by another two. And it's weird because it's the middle of the daytime and nothing should be reflecting that heavily. But
Is it reflective, like luminescent in a way that the eyes of some Haints might be, or is it in a different way, so something more
like the eyes of like a cat should be.
Six-eyed
Like in
catfish.
the night when you kind of glint a light out on them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the middle of the day, and that is far too up high to be a cat.
Round about how far away is that?
50, 60 yards would be about 150 feet, 180 feet.
Okay. And that's across water or across land? Like, is it along the shore from us? Or
Yeah,
is
it's like
it
along the
across lake?
shorelines, like after about 30 yards or so closer to like that 90-foot mark, you're gonna to like start edging back into like the full forest. And then about 40 to 50 feet into there where it starts getting a little bit deeper.
Hey, Stump. You been out in the forest at all today?
Every day.
They're much in the way of daytime predators out and about these parts.
I don't know. Maybe I know. Let me
Now,
rack my
like
noodle.
bears. No, we're not in the part of the country. Bears, particularly some mountain
black
lions.
bears.
Black bears could.
Can I roll and see to know if about any daytime predators?
I mean, you would know about plenty of daytime predators.
Yeah.
Like it's East Tennessee, so yeah, you're gonna have some brown bears out. There might be some like occasional bobcats. Someone's house cat that got a little too feral decided to get out there.
Anything like that might as well be a bobcat. Nothing too big, nothing we can't handle.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just.
What? What'd you say?
There's three of something out there on the tree line, giving us a gander. I don't mind, standing up, being seen in front of others, but the way that they're watching us, I don't fancy.
Why don't we go take a little look? What you think?
Well, that would disrupt our wonderful day fishing. But well, I am a mite bit concerned. We could leave the spear. Well, maybe keep the spear with us and go and take a closer look. We'll leave the rope
Here,
here tied to the dock.
You hold on to my knife, and I'll grab my axe.
I wouldn't mind having something in hand. He'll take it.
I'll break it off the stick and give it to you. And we'll head towards
Wait,
the
so
eyes.
do I have a knife, or do I have a smaller stick with a knife tied to it?
You choose. Do you want the spear or the knife?
I think it's funnier to be given like half of a spear. Like you break it, but it's just like now a smaller stick with a knife on it.
Yep.
So I
Yeah,
guess
you
we're
two,
waltzing off to the woods.
Yeah, just waltzing off into the woods.
Leaving a fire unattended.
Mm-hmm. Smokey is going to be so disappointed in y'all.
Does Smokey even exist yet?
Not yet, but
In our hearts.
Close.
yeah. I would like for both of y'all to roll me level 3. So I need it to be at least a 9.
What are we doing? What are we rolling for?
You'll
Or
find
just...
out.
Okay. I didn't know if it's something I could add something to.
Well, it's just a 5 for me today.
Ooh.
6. Look at us.
Because neither of you gentlemen notice as you kind of like get a little bit deeper that those eyes do flicker away. And you start to hear this just little like clicking noise.
What do you reckon that is?
Well, I don't tend to jump to any conclusions. I hear a noise off in the woods. I usually tend to remark and say, I hear a noise off in the woods. I try not to speculate any further. Were I to put money on it, however, perhaps there's someone else out here doing some kind of work, or a woodpecker, perhaps, a clicking sort of noise.
Gotta remember, you haven't heard birds in a while in the woods. But ain't no bird.
Really
Natural.
persistent.
That same like clicking noise just around you. And you guys going deeper, or
Who's out
Just somebody
there?
trying to start a fire. Nothing to worry about.
I'm just gonna scream.
and you can hear a noise behind you, but it's very like disjointed. It's like someone like stepped on something and then stopped and then like jerked far to the right and then stopped.
Don't like any of this.
Well, you've got your axe. I've got a knife. If anybody here means business, we'll talk business. If any of you mean business in a more violent manner, we are armed, and we will leverage those weapons should the time require it. Otherwise, please be on your way. We're just here to do some fishing and saw someone from the woods.
So
What are you
committed to the
saying?
bit.
How much noise are two you making?
So goddamn much noise.
We're both just yelling in the woods now.
Yeah.
So,
Old man yells at cloud.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. How them two intrusions feeling for you?
Oh no, it's just one intrusion.
Okay.
As like you're making just enough noise, it should scare off any prey animal. I feel like Everett would probably notice it a little bit faster than Zedikiah. Something just starts to like come charging in that same disjointed pace, except it starts moving faster and faster and you start to see antlers like the first day, followed by this like large deer head that shouldn't have this many eyes in it. Like all 6 of these eyes are staring down at you as it like is in a charge.
What's too many damn eyes?
And you watch like it's got like its mouth open, like, and it's got these sharp teeth. And it is just like dripping this like thick red. You can't tell if it's blood or God, it might be dirt, but it's deep and red. And it is like making a rut for you. And I would like to actually move back to
Yep, that
Euphonia
sounds right.
and Hattie.
The classic cutaway.
Yes,
Mhm,
before we
mhm.
start into the first
We love
encounter.
to see it.
We're skipping down the road.
You're both skipping, or is it just Hattie?
You know what? Sure. Trying to demonstrate.
Oh, you're going to show me a real skip.
I'm trying.
It's about a mile walk. So maybe with like a skip, it would be about 25 minutes
Sure.
before you start to see like signs of civilization again. And this would be like a cutoff road. You can hear what had to be like a truck or something, like a little bit farther's way down it. I don't know if either Hattie or Euphonia had needed to really make way to the railway camp, but
Euphonia has been avoiding it like the plague. These are not her people.
definitely not. But you would at least kind of know the path there is this direction. It's a pretty wide cutoff to if anyone needs to bring like lumber down. The metal comes in on the trains itself. But this is where they're supposed to be fixing up the new station that'll come in. And a little farther ways past that, you know that apparently they're trying to build a city to kind of exist off this main station that'll, from the sounds of the gossip, even eclipse Elegy.
Pride goeth before a fall. Well, I guess I'll start looking out for. There can't be that many women around here. I mean, I'm sure there's some who are wives of the managers, maybe, or people who cook or run some sort of establishment, like a boarding house or something. Any way that we could narrow our search a little bit?
Are you wanting to figure that out yourselves or maybe talk?
Well, I'll talk to people. That's totally fine.
Yeah, if take this little side road down, probably another 15-minute walk to where it turns into like quote unquote civilization proper. You can see out like almost on the mountain, like what looks to be the bare beginnings of a rail station and the hintings of track. Nothing has quite come through here fully yet. It's still a few miles off. The railroad hasn't crossed the lake yet. They're just starting to build into it. But this town, definitely probably a little nicer than it should be. Stuff has gone up pretty quickly. There looks to be like some sort of merchant store, maybe. You're not sure if it's like a company store or an actual general in its own rights. A few other buildings that look like they could be selling something or selling shelter. And then about half a mile down off of that, I mean, Euphonia, it's only stuff that you've seen in catalogs, but these gorgeous, gorgeous Sears and Roebuck's houses that you probably only dreamed about as a little girl.
Yeah.
Going up one after another. Like, paint is still in the air, and you can practically see where the nails were just built in.
Pride. She'll straighten her shoulders, stand up straight, and head to what looks like the general store.
Sure. You get closer. It does have a sign outside. It says B&R Company Store.
B&R Company
Sorry,
Store.
B&L.
B&L. Well, shall we, Hattie?
I guess we shall. I think we might be far enough away from the lake that I might be able to hear some voices.
Well, you keep that inner ear open.
Okay.
You hearing any voices?
Yeah. You want
What
to be the
ability is
voices
that?
in my head? I've got here's the voices. Sometimes the voices whisper to you, telling you the secrets of others, giving you a sense of how they think, what they dream of, and what they fear. And I'm trained in detecting falsehoods.
Very nice.
Say a quiet voice just kind of like pops up in your head. It's not the volume you're used to and feels still pretty far away. Something about this place ain't right, Hattie. It's dark. It's wrong. It's something about it ain't right. I'm telling you, they should not be allowed to build here. They're gonna mess up the area.
Tilly, is that you? Are you back?
You can hear me, Hattie.
Tilly,
I've been
Tilly's
talking
that
a long time.
what? I've been having heard you for a while now. You said this place ain't right?
No, not right. They bringing in bad things from the east.
Bringing in bad things from the east? Euphonia, Miss Euphonia, they're bringing in bad things from the east. Tilly said so.
Well, she's absolutely right. Nothing good coming out of any of this. She's going to listen to whoever we talk to, right?
Yes'm.
And opens the door, walks in.
It's a nice, pretty little shop, Miss Euphonia. All clean and proper, and got some of those name brands you only see in the city.
She walks in and the smell of real coffee hits her, not just chicory root.
I know, it's fresh and warm.
Steel herself.
You'd swear they selling everything you could possibly need in here. Heck, there's a pretty little calico print up on the wall. Bolts of it. Make some new dresses out of that.
Well, is there anybody at the counter, or is there a bell?
Yeah, there is a older gentleman, like, behind the counter. Seems to be, like, looking over some papers himself. As you walk in, he kind of lifts himself up. Well, you're new folks around here. Were you just in on the train, or?
No, sir. We're here from Elegy. As you may know, there have been folks gone missing, and we were just down at the lake. Somebody else has just gotten plumb picked right off, and I happened to see a woman on the other side of the lake, and I was hoping that you could help me maybe track her down, and we could speak to her and see if she saw anything, how long she had been there, and that sort of thing. Are there many women around here? I know you're a company store. It must be a company town.
Oh, yes, ma'am. We are a company store, and we do have a few ladies. Though they shouldn't be bothering out with your folk.
No, I don't think anybody was bothering anybody else. I just wanted to speak and see if she saw anything. No accusations.
Well, I mean, what does she look like? And I might be able to point you in some direction.
Well, she was wearing a long dress, and very fine shoes. Not shoes for walking, I would say. City shoes.
I mean, you'd have to be much clearer than that for me to give you any sort of direction. Plenty of ladies around here like shoes, and plenty of ladies like fine dresses. In fact, if you'd like, if you have any company script, I might be able to outfit you in one or two of those.
Well, I do appreciate your salesmanship. Can I make any kind of roll to see if I got any kind of impression, a build, a hair color? Was she dark complected or light? Blonde, brunette?
I will tell you it's going to be a little bit harder roll just because you only saw her from
Just
a
a
pretty
glance.
decent distance.
Yeah.
So something like this would probably be like a challenge roll of 5.
Okay.
So an 18.
All right.
No, I'm sorry, not an 18, a 15.
Give some +1s.
Yeah, we've got some +1s. So I'll redeem one of those.
Mm-hmm.
And can I use something from my intellect pool to lower that as well?
Yeah, do you have an edge in intellect?
I do.
Okay, so if you want to take out to make it ease, you're going to take 2 because you have
Yeah.
that edge.
Yeah. So that's leaves me a pool of 17 for that for now.
Mhm.
And that makes it a roll of, you said it was a 5, so it's a 3. I got to get a 9.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. 13 again. Was this the same die I used? No, it's a different one. Lucky number 13.
Yeah. Hey, as long as it's rolling well.
Yeah.
Like, you don't remember the most detail about her. It wasn't a girl. You know that. It had to be a grown woman.
Yeah.
Probably late 20s, early 30s, just based on the way she kind of held herself, and anyone that had to walk out there would have to be in pretty good shape. You think you might have caught some light colored hair. Outside of that, you were just at too far of a distance. Like, she
Sure,
might have been
sure.
wearing darker color, like a darker color fabric, but
Sure. She was a youngish woman, straight, sturdy, uh, sort of a trim build, smaller than me, I would say, and fair haired, I'd say. That narrow the field any?
he just kind of leans on his elbow to. And for persuasion, I'd want you to make a pass difficulty of 4.
Okay. Okay.
Give another +1.
I'll do that. Gotta get 9 or better.
Did you take the +1?
Yes, I did.
Mhm.
Or I didn't, rather, but it didn't matter because I rolled a 1.
Which gives me another intrusion to pocket.
There you go.
It does.
Back to 2. Mm.
Like I said, ma'am, our young lady should not be bothering out with your kind of folk.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. We don't want to bother with your kind of folk anyway. And I turn on my heel and stomp out the door.
Oh, are we leaving?
You hear from well outside, "Come on, Hattie!"
Oh, can I look at the dude and see if I hear any voices?
I mean, you look at him and like the same voice pops up. I swear nothing about this town is right, Hattie. All these people coming ain't mean anyone any good. This whole place, darker than dirt.
You're darker than dirt. That's what she said. And then she'll spit at the floor and do a little sign and skip out.
So
Left
the
my
two
mark.
of you, and you can hear him, Hattie, as you walk out. Like he's pulled out like a broom, and you can hear like sweeping from behind you as you leave.
It's a black colored spit that's gonna take more than a broom.
Oof.
But still, you leave, and you're once more out on the street.
Maybe we could just go knocking on all the doors and ask for them to bring out the women.
Well, it may come to that. Shall we walk around for a little bit? Maybe just see if we see anybody?
They're all dirty, though. Tilly told me they're all dirty.
Well, Tilly's damn right is what she is. They've come up here,
Yeah.
ruin everything.
What
Yeah.
do you think? What do you think the men are doing?
I was about to say, let's check back in on our gentleman folk and have the two of you roll for initiative.
Oh boy! Now it's a party.
Is that
Just
just
a reminder,
D20?
you guys have XP. What else do you have? David has a +1. Yeah, David has a +1. That's it.
I think for initiative, it's just the raw roll. I don't think there's a.
Just
it's
for the
your
whole
speed.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just letting you know in advance to remind you.
Appreciate that. I got a 13 going on.
8.
Okay. So with a 13, you get to go first, Mr. Zedekiah.
Okay,
Ooh.
As
okay.
this deer is charging, well, this not deer is charging right to you. It's looking hungry.
I think Zedekiah's mother was originally from up north, and he used to hear horror stories of the nature of moose, of these megafauna from a time long past, of these creatures which were territorial to a point where if you locked eyes with one, you were as good as dead. I think he sees this 6-eyed deer, red dripping from its mouth. This is clearly a moose. This is what his mother warned him about.
Mhm.
Clearly.
This is the reason why he's never traveled, farther north than this here beautiful state. He's never gone up to those reaches of Canada, up in the north. And Zedekiah is not a fighter. He's a talker. This is a creature Are there trees like within 10
So many
feet of him?
trees.
Perfect. Does one of them seem sturdy enough for him to climb?
I am sure there has to be at least one.
Can he climb?
Well, we're
gonna
gonna
find that
find out. Zedikiah is going to climb up a nearby tree as fast as his legs will carry him. He knows that he cannot overpower this moose, clearly. And he will try to calm the creature once he is safely out of reach of his antlers.
Okay. If you'd like to make that roll for me, do you have anything in speed?
My speed is a 9. I do not have any edge in it. I do, if we're considering this a speed defense, then I am trained in those so long as I'm not wearing armor, which I am not.
Okay. So that'll bring it, that'll ease it 1. This would normally be a 12. A 4, so a roll of 12, but that'll bring it down to a 9.
Oh, that's, for a second I thought I had to multiply that by 3, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I will not roll this. Okay, a 9. All right, we can make an attempt.
You've also got a +1.
You want to burn that now?
No, I've already rolled, and it's too funny not to. That was a 5.
Well, Mr. Zedikiah, as you kind of like run at this tree and start trying to scrabble up it, it's a little hard. You're not quite the tree climbing type. And
certainly not.
You like make it a few inches off the ground before you feel like something sharp like bite into your tailbone.
Yeah, he cries out, "Ah! I've miscalculated."
This thing just like pulls you off.
Don't worry, they're vegetarians.
Run for your own life, Stump! It's a moose! It's a moose! My mama warned me about these!
So, that's your turn. And it's the moose's turn.
Oh no.
I need you to make another roll for me there. This will be a might defense roll.
Oh, I'm worse at those.
And this will be a 9. Well, not a level 9, but a level 3.
All your points in intellect.
Well, I tucked 2 into my. So I have a 10 in might. I have a 9 in speed, but I'm technically more proficient in a fight when it comes to speed because I'm trained in speed defense.
Oh my gosh.
I will spend the might points. I will spend 3 might points from my pool in order to bump that down to a 6 for me to meet instead.
And your
Good
+1?
call.
You want your +1 now?
No, I'm currently potentially attached to an antler of this here moose. We will reserve that +1 for trying to stop being attached.
Yeah. Save it for that intrusion if you need it.
This is okay. That's an 11 on the dice.
Perfect. Well, you're able to roll out of the way just enough that it doesn't get its teeth in you again. And what it does is, as it does that, it just kind of like swings its head towards Everett. What are you doing, Stump?
I'm taking the axe down.
Okay.
Just like that.
So,
It's got too many eyes.
It's got to die.
It ain't right.
well, go ahead and roll for me. Are you using any abilities or anything?
My ability is that I get a +1 to damage for melee weapons, which I've already factored into my axe. But other than that, no, I'm just swinging an axe.
You have a +1 from the audience?
I do have a +1 from the audience.
Do you want to use it?
I don't know. Do I need to use it?
It's if you want to use it, you definitely can. this is still that level 3 and then 9 on the dice roll.
Yeah, I'll use it. This seems important. All right, my dice says 16.
Woo!
Perfect. Yeah, go ahead and how much damage is that total?
7.
Perfect. Yeah, you definitely, without being too graphic here,
Yep.
knock into the side of its head and maybe obscure a few of those eyes. And
I don't feel good about this. Oh, you're hurting that guy.
I think here would be a great time to use an intrusion.
Yep.
Oh,
'Cause I need you to make an intelligent defense with that level 3 again.
Ooh-wee. Now, can I use one of my ciphers?
What kind of cipher are you using? Because you can always
I-
use a cipher.
I have my Hagstone, which is +1 armor against, like, ghosts and things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what sort of thing this is, but perhaps I'm
thing.
just wearing this ring just in case. But I'm going to roll my intellect.
Yeah.
That's 12.
You feel like that your bones starting to shake and your body wanting to turn, and you can kind of hold it off. But the intrusion doesn't apply to you right now, Everett.
Uh-oh.
You managed to stave off this. Unfortunately, Mr. Zedikiah, you don't have an option. And unfortunately, because this is an intrusion I have, you also don't get the XP as fear just kind of shoots even stronger down your body. And this thing, it's a man, your mama didn't warn you about moose. There is something unnatural about this, and part of you never wants to go north again to keep from meeting one of these things, and you can't help but run and run. And that is going to be your next move. Which brings us around to the
fully
deer.
understand.
The deer with blood dripping down. More than just its teeth now. Even though that looks pretty sluggish, the close it is as it is to you, Everett. Almost thick. And it's gonna try and gore you with its horns.
That's fair.
I need you to make another of that might defense roll.
Okay. So might is something I'm good at. And I
Love
have
it.
an edge in that. Does that mean
Mhm.
anything?
You can spend 2 instead of 3 to bring that down from a 9 to a 6.
Okay. I'll do that. You said 2? Subtract 2?
No, you
Subtract
can
3?
you subtract 2 from your pool to bring it down.
That's what I thought. All right. That's a terrible roll. That's a 3.
So you're going to take 3 points of damage.
Okay.
And just as a reminder, damage always comes out of your might pool first.
Okay. And what does armor do for me?
If you had armor for this kind of attack, it would just negate that by 1.
Okay. So
But it's not a haint or a ghost or anything.
I do have regular armor as
Okay.
well.
How many
I
points
have
do you have in
medium.
that?
I don't know. I couldn't find that. It's a medium armor.
Let me look at items really quickly.
Because I get something.
Medium is 2.
Okay.
Nice.
So you only take 1 point of damage, but I guess
Love
it's
it.
like these horns, all sharp to a point, like go for your midsection. Like it catches most of it on some leathers that you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
But like just a few of like the horn tips do peek into you and do pierce your soft skin a little bit.
Ow.
So it would be your move now.
Oh. Gonna try to do it
Yeah,
again.
it's just you and the deer at this point because
Yeah.
sorry, the moose. Zedikiah is for the hills.
Run in.
Bailed.
Yeah.
Worked out what
Going
way
for another
south was
swing.
and headed for it.
Okay, roll for that, please.
6. Ugh.
Well, it definitely misses.
Mm.
Took
And you
down a nice
probably-
tree, though.
Yeah, you took down a sapling and probably some hair off the deer's hide.
Stand still.
So what's Zedikiah up to? Is he turning around at all?
Well, let me ask. Is the fear coursing through his body of natural or unnatural origin?
Mm.
It's technically natural because of how unnatural this thing is.
Okay. I think Zedekiah does not do a lot of running. I think that he gets winded quite quickly and stops by a tree, kind of like huddled behind it, catching his breath, kind of peeking around, seeing if the moose is following him. And upon realizing that it's not quite yet, and he's breathing is starting to be restored to normal, his heart rate is returning back. About how far off do you think he made it when he was kind of sprinting mindlessly? He's not a woodsman by any stretch of the means. Is he far
I'd
enough
say
that it would be difficult to find his way back?
I'd say it's pretty far, but pretty far is only about 100 feet off.
Okay. I can probably still hear him scrapping then.
Yes.
100 feet
It's
away.
not quiet.
And I think Zedekiah stops and kind of steels himself. Okay. Shouldn't leave Stump on his own back there. Okay, we'll inch our way. We'll get eyes on the situation. Figure out what to do. All right. Keep some distance. Keep some trees between you and the creature. It can't. It's got to knock the tree over to get to you. It's a big stout tree. He's been here long before. He'll be here long after. All right. Okay. And Zedekiah is gonna close that 100-foot distance maybe to 50 feet. I think that's possible in a single round.
Yeah, that's
and-
a medium
and-
distance. Well,
Yeah.
not even medium.
Yeah, he's gonna get narrow that space a little bit closer, see if he can get eyes on the situation, and try to see what kind of danger that this creature poses, as well as maybe what kind of danger Stump might be in right now.
Okay. So you're trying to be on the lookout then? A little bit? Like more information gathering?
Zedekiah is hesitant to re-enter the fray. I think
Okay.
currently he's trying to do what a person would do when they're trying to be useful without necessarily I think he dropped the knife when he ran. Rather than like throw a knuckle with a moose. I think he'd rather think about the situation from afar at first.
Okay. I was gonna say if you're looking for information, I can have you roll for that. But if you're just
Okay, yeah.
waiting,
No, he's trying to be useful, so if he can look for information or something,
Okay,
if he
yeah.
can use his wit rather than his fists, he'd love to.
I'd give you that as a roll. You have anything in your task that'll lower that 9?
Got no ciphers of interest. I don't have any. skills. I am good at understanding magic, and I am also, or specifically, I'm trained in understanding magic, and I am also trained in seeing through a trick, illusion, or lie.
Neither of those would help really with a monster.
I do also have a skill in identify.
Tell me what is that the ability or the skill?
That's the skill. I'm just trained in
Okay.
identifying. That's one of the things I get, I think, from skeptic.
I would let you, which will still only it'll bring it down to a 6.
Okay. Well, considering my
You got
rolls, I'll
this.
take it.
You've
It's
got
a
a
16.
+1. Oh, you don't need it.
I think you also just gave me a -1, right, Sarah? So I think that
Yes,
drops
I
me
did.
to
I take
even.
it back.
Which kind of just
Brutal.
takes it out. But you look at this thing and I mean you can realize it is a deer, or originally it was a deer. Not a moose. So it's not gonna have that as like a thick of a neck as a moose does.
Yeah,
So it's
totally.
gonna be easier for it to go after it. That's like the soft spot on it. Not to mention, like, as you're like stopping to pay attention to this thing, especially in the daylight, you can tell that it's not mud. I'm sorry, it's not blood that's dripping down its face out of its mouth so much as actual like mud, just like wet, thick mud.
Hey, Stump, something isn't right with that. I don't think it's a moose.
Oh shit!
Well, sorry, I'm not a taxidermist. But it's got the mud. Maybe try, if it's ingested something. Maybe try getting it to cough that up, or interrupt the neck in some way. It looks particularly thin there.
I'll see what I can do.
And that is, I'm going to toss some advice and maintain the 50-foot distance.
That sounds fair.
There you go.
Especially as this like thing sees that its horns are not like getting purchased. So Stump, you watch as it kind of like rears back, and like as its legs are for a moment up in the air, you can see that these are like jointed so weird. Like one leg is like jointed like a goats are, like, and then one is like jointed like how you see like a not emu is, where it's like backward jointed and everything, and it also has like an extra joint like at its ankle, and it's
Right,
like it is horrible and rearing towards you, and it is trying to go for your neck with that its attack. If you'd like to go for a might defense roll.
Sure. Ooh. That's a 1.
How many of them have you rolled?
Too many. There go the dice. I'm getting new ones.
Okay, as the GM, and as always in any game, I'm a fan of the players. You do have an XP. One XP will let you re-roll.
Ooh.
A different
Do you
dice.
want it?
Yeah. Oh, do I want to? That's a 13.
Better.
There we go.
So yeah, how would you narrate this near miss?
Oh, I think it's coming down with its horns.
So it's coming at you with its mouth this time.
Oh. I'm gonna hold my axe like this, and it's gonna gnaw on the wooden handle, and I'm just gonna hold it back with my immense might.
Okay. And what is your action as it comes back to you?
Does it look messed up or does it look very healthy?
I mean, in general, this thing looks messed up. It's a
Sure,
6-eyed
sure.
deer. But yes, it looks pretty hurt.
Oh boy. What's not gross to do? I know what I want to do, but it's not an animal, it's a monster. I've got its mouth occupied. I'm gonna grab its antlers and just try to break its neck.
Okay, go for that roll.
Just straight might.
Yeah. Unless you want to use anything to lower it.
I don't have a mercy killing talent, unfortunately.
Unfortunate.
That is an 18.
Perfect.
Woo!
Not to mention, with an 18, I think you actually get a little extra damage.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it really matters much in this case.
Get monstrous venison.
I mean, essentially, that's exactly what it is. But yeah, with an 18, if you needed it, you would get 2 extra damage, but this thing only had 2 extra damage on it. So you hear that quick, merciful snap, and like its dying breaths, it just still tries to put up a little bit of a fight before going down.
I'm sorry, critter.
And this thing just seems to like deflate like a lot faster than how like a normal animal would.
But yeah, I don't like that at all.
No. And like this mud just kind of like is seeping out of its mouth. You can now see that it's still.
Well, that was terrible. Let me get back to the scaredy cat.
I think Zedikiah has been inching his way back up to you. It went down on the ground. Everything looking okay up there, Stump? Everything all right?
Yeah, what's done is done. You can come on over.
Oh, excellent. Well, we've still got that fire going. You reckon we should make use of this, or?
Hell no, this ain't nothing to eat. Let the earth take you back. I don't even think the buzzards are gonna do business on this one.
Don't usually like to leave something without making use of it, but if that's your
How are the
inclination, I
antlers?
trust your wisdom.
Are the antlers deflating?
No. Like I mean by deflating, like if anyone knows like how composition happens.
Yeah.
Usually an animal any body kind of like bloats first
Yeah.
before just like starting decay. This like went straight past like into decay. So like its
Yeah.
antlers are there. Like if you wanted to wait some time, you might be able to get the head and horns off pretty easily. But right now it's attached to a deer. Really
Yeah,
fucked
let's
up.
just leave this here. If we need it, we'll come back for it.
Sounds reasonable. I'll follow your lead. Do we want to head
That was
back and
thirsty work.
continue
Let's
this?
have a beverage. Wow, I just swallowed a lot of fake hair. There was a lot in my mouth
so
when I
much
had that.
swallowing noise on that.
Yeah,
Like, might as
that's
well
because
be
I noticed
mukbang at
halfway
this
through my
point.
drink that there was just a lot of plastic
I
hair
wasn't-
in there.
I wasn't sure who it was coming from. It may have well been me, but wow.
Nothing you can do about that.
Mm.
Got a
Hair of the
mouthful
dog,
deer.
you know.
So we go back to fishing after this, or actually, Stump?
Yeah.
You spend your time out in these woods. You're a skilled hunter.
Mm-hmm.
This creature came from somewhere. Figure we might follow that red dripping. I don't
Best
necessarily
idea
want
you had all
to
day.
visit the source, but perhaps we'll learn from it.
I reckon that's a
Yeah.
great idea.
If you would like to make a roll for tracking this thing's footprint, you definitely can. This would be a difficulty 4, so a 12 total, but I think you have some abilities in that, right?
I have hunting and navigation, which I feel like together mean tracking.
Equals tracking.
Yeah. Which would bring you down to that 9 that you have continuously been having to roll.
Oh, that's another one.
What is up with your
Throw away
dice?
all of your dice.
It's not a dice thing, it's a me thing. There's nothing I can do about it.
Put yourself out in the
Yeah.
light of a new moon and
I'm an indoor boy.
oh,
Because I haven't even had to offer you guys intrusions. I just keep getting given them.
yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you. But
Right,
that will
it's
be
19.
another one to hold.
Yeah, that's all yours. Well, this thing came from nowhere and didn't come from nowhere, ain't going nowhere, so here we are.
Back to fishing then?
Yep. Were we with other people?
Well,
Seems like
look,
a fleeting memory.
they went off to go and seek a solution across the lake. I figure we gotta watch out for what else might still be in the lake. Sorry, we need to go and have a polite day fishing where we are totally ignorant of this world and its problems. And if we don't do that, we may never solve them.
And if they was dead, you could talk to them, right? You'd know if they
Yeah.
were dead. Yeah.
Should I give it a
Perfect.
try or?
Yeah, we'll give them till nightfall.
Actually,
They probably ain't dead yet. Yep.
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should offer you guys an intrusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because an intrusion does gives one player XP and gives that player an XP to share to another person. Only if you take it. The only way you can avoid this intrusion, though, is by paying an XP.
Ain't got one to pay.
David.
So I guess this would be an offer either to the chat or to Mr. Zedikiah. You hear you think that same clicking noise a little bit closer. And if you'd like, you guys can just start running north, the opposite direction.
Mm-hmm.
I fully accept this intrusion. No complaints.
Is it whatever
here.
this thing will be on your heels, but
yeah, I think my whole goal with this dumb plan was to invite disaster upon us. So if the disaster wants to come early without us having to fish, then I think we're all for it.
it's definitely some disaster.
Who doesn't?
Might
love
not be
a
what
good
you're originally
disaster?
fishing for, but yeah, you
Well,
can just start.
Then we're gonna start. I think I'm gonna hear the clicking, and I'm gonna say, "Oh, that sounds bad."
Yep.
How about we continue this discussion further north of here, opposite to that sound?
I agree.
Oh, and here, I was just given these 2 experience points. I'm going to give one of those to you, and I'll take the other one here for later.
Oh, no.
So yeah, y'all start running north. I'm gonna say it's outside of that direction. It's a little hard to tell exactly where you're headed, and it might cause you to lose track of where you were, especially back to that point at the lake. And you definitely can hear something on your tails.
I believe in
And
Stump's
running-
training. He can find us our way back if we need to one day.
One day. But I think that would pull us back to Miss Hattie and Miss Euphonia.
That's us.
Mm-hmm.
Stomping angrily around the company town.
Stop a person. I'll be like, we're looking for a woman. Do you know where all the women are?
Where the white women at? To quote Lou Wilson. Dimension 20? Anybody?
If is that how Hattie is actually going around asking?
Yep.
So this would probably be a difficulty of like 6 if you're asking people how to about this is how you're
Women.
asking people.
Yeah.
And that would be an 18.
An 18. Oh,
You
hang
got
on.
this.
I've got a -1. I'll spend that
if you
-1 to
have
make
a-
it even harder.
Yeah,
And
if
get
you
rid
have
of the
an
-1.
8, if you have a level 6, that turns it into a level 7, which makes this a 21.
How
Well,
would I get a 1? I'll roll for it.
Yeah, you still have to roll for it just in case you get a 1. You got a 1, huh?
Yeah.
wow.
Delicious.
That's funny.
Wow.
Yeah. I've got
We're
XP,
trying to
so I
get
re-roll it.
PPK'd.
Hey, that's up to you. You think you
Mhm,
can roll that
mhm.
21 on a 1d20? Go for it.
Well, so it'll be better than anything could be better than a 1, right?
I mean,
Right?
technically, yes. You won't get that. I won't get that intrusion for free.
Okay, re-rolling. 11.
Okay.
Bye XP.
Better.
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna tell you that is such a great way to use XP
Mhm.
because it
Mm.
happens so frequently. But yeah, like at Hattie, you're asking like some mostly upstanding folk if you're not like heading out towards the construction. And a lot of them just kind of look like you are dirt underneath their shoes. Like these are the men still in town. They're not the foremen per se, but they're the gentlemen that tend to work in the office and keep track of the actual day laborers and keep house and keep business in the town. Just
Can I find, what did I call him? That Patrick's boy who works on the railroad.
yeah, give me a difficulty level 3.
Okay.
You have a +1.
6.
Do
Made
you
it.
have any E's to take to that? You did have the +1.
I suppose I can. If you'll give me this for finding things, that's my see the unseen. Otherwise, I'll spend more intellect points.
I don't think this is necessarily seeing the unseen. This is just kind of navigation.
Got it. 2 more intellect points.
All right. Yeah, this would require you both to kind of head out towards the construction, which on this side of the lake is a little more north of the town. And kind of takes you, you're following more like truck paths at this point.
Yeah.
And out with dozens of other men, you find like Bernard Patrick.
Yeah.
He's like working away. All these men are hauling stone out of the way and cutting down trees and kind of making way for that path to the station.
Young Mr. Patrick.
And you like see this young gentleman, like flat top shave, kind of like look wildly around as he like drops some rocks that he was hauling.
Just
And
a
you, like,
minute of your time.
You see him like lean over to just some gentleman that's next to him working a few feet away, and that look kind of carries down just a little bit, and someone somewhere finally gives like a nod, and you see Bernard Patrick rush over. Miss Euphonia, if you're here, is everything all right? I mean,
Well, it's not. What I need from you, though, is I need you to tell me if you know of one of the women over here. And I'm not suggesting you know her. Not saying anything of the sort. But a youngish woman, maybe a little bit older than you, but younger than me, light hair, dresses very well. Is that ringing any bells? Anybody you've seen around town?
She might have some pretty little walking shoes.
I mean, I'll say, Miss Euphonia, if this ain't an emergency, I got to get back to work quick. The foreman don't.
It is an emergency. It is an emergency. It is of vital importance.
I mean, not that I can recall. Really, you know these out of towners. They don't like us messing with their women. They think we're going to get inappropriate with them, so they try and keep the young ladies away. But there's only a few families, like out of these folk that have light hair.
All right, give me some names.
Pastor Finner, um, um, old Mr. Weeks. But he's really just, I think it's just him around here. He handles all of our like work clothes and everything, and I don't I want to say the foreman also, but I can't quite remember if I've only seen him once or twice.
Oh, what's his name?
Foreman.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be right, Miss Yvonne. I can't quite recall. I imagine if he's from the railroad, he's got to be one of those barrows or locks.
All right. Thank you for your help. I'm going to tell your mama what a good help you were. You go ahead and get back to work and be careful.
Yes, ma'am. He just like hurries back and gets in line before anyone can really notice.
Hattie, don't you think it's rather odd that sharp young Mr. Patrick couldn't remember the name of the man he's supposed to be working for?
I mean, it could be a bit odd, but I've never worked before. Well, except when I was that mining. But, you know.
I just think it's interesting is all.
Okay. Should we go find these families?
I think we shall. Let's start with Pastor Finner. Should be easy enough to find.
Looking for a church? All right. Oh, if we step...
Yeah, you two head back in towards this little pop-up town, and it doesn't quite look like a chapel has been built yet, but the fixings of one have started. And next to it, a big tent has been raised up.
Of course.
This is Saturday afternoon now, so...
Is there something nearby that looks like would be the parsonage?
Well, I was going to say it's Saturday afternoon, so there's a sermon going on. This is Deep South now, remember.
Oh, I'm familiar. If there is an active service, then I'll go in and go sit on the back or stand, I suppose. I don't guess they've got their pews yet.
Yeah, it's mostly standing. What chairs have been brought out tend to be brought out for the elderly, and they're only like maybe 2 or 3 olders.
I'll go in too. Is there any blondes?
You can't ask that every building you go into, Sero.
I mean, you can.
That's out of character, not in character.
I will need you to roll just a level 1.
5.
Perfect. So there's definitely a few like lighter haired folk, not quite like blonde, except for Ward the pastor, who you figure has to be Pastor Finner. He is about mid-30s, mostly handsome, a little on the shorter side. Doesn't have on like vestments or anything, just like a nice black shirt and slacks, and quite honestly looks like neither have had a day of labor put on them in their lives.
Do I feel the power of the god compel me?
Are you the spiritual top?
No, but I speak in tongues.
I mean, that's a very different thing from feeling spiritual.
Do I feel the power of the tongues wanting to come out?
I feel like that is your call. I will say, stepping back from table just a little bit, that might be a very character thing. It might also be something that, as you have realized, might not get you over really well with the town.
Okay, I'll tamp it down then. It's not like we need a distraction right now.
Is the sermon about anything in particular?
You listen pretty closely. I did not prepare any scripture for tonight.
You didn't have a reading ready for us? God.
I mean, if you give me like 3 seconds, I can find something. I'm sure I have a Bible in this room somewhere. But also for the fact that no one really wants to hear an entire sermon's worth of spiritual talk.
Of course not.
He is giving a sermon on the virtues of hard work and progress, and how by dedicating yourself to the life's work, you are also going to be dedicating yourself to the Lord.
A company man, then.
Yes,
fair enough.
Very much a company man. He references several times about the Lord and the light he holds, and how walking towards that light will be your like greatest path forward, and how you must sacrifice in order to receive your toil, like not toils, but you must sacrifice and toil in order to like get your rewards.
Absolutely.
Stuff people from the South have heard 1,000 times, but the audience looks enraptured.
Fair enough. Well, then I guess there's nothing to do but wait until the service is done and then go speak to him.
Sure. It's a long, drawn out sermon you've probably heard from a pastor or 10,000 times in your life at this point, Euphonia, if you're ever in a church. You haven't quite heard some of the phrases he's used before, but he's any other pastor. And it
Yeah.
takes about 30, 45 minutes of this eulogizing and of people coming up towards the end for prayer. And then you see the tithing plate passed around. And I think you notice that, surprisingly, despite this being a company town, it's not script being tossed in. It's actual hard money,
Interesting.
which is even harder to come by out here.
Yeah. Very interesting. Well, then I guess after the plate's been passed and brought back up and people start dissipating, we'll go up to the Reverend and ask him if he has a moment. Really enjoyed the lesson.
Huh?
Oh, you folks are new in town? Did you come up here just for the service, or is there anything I can help you two followers with?
Well, we're here from Elegy. You may know that there's been some people gone missing, and unfortunately, we just happened to find out that there's another person who has gone missing. And from what we understand, there was a young woman, a little younger than me, a little trimmer than me, light hair like yours. And it's possible that she may have seen something. And we were just wondering if you might know who that was. I figure there can't be too many people around here that meet that description, because we'd really love to speak to her.
I know most of my flock very well. Unfortunately, there's not that many young women in town, and I don't think any quite match that description.
Not any at all.
None that I can think of, unfortunately.
I hear the voices. Does Tilly say he's lying?
She does. Hattie, you have to get out of here. That man is lying. That man is evil. He is something else, but he ain't no preacher. Got to get out, Hattie. Out of here. Get back to town. Get out of town. Do whatever you do.
Miss Euphonia, I think Tilly would like us to leave. I'm feeling a little faint.
Oh, all right, Hattie. No problem at all. Father, thank you for your time.
Of course. And if you would ever like to join another one of our services, you are more than welcome.
We know where
All
you
of
are
us are
now.
equal under the Lord's house.
Or tent.
Yes, sir.
Out we go. And then I'll say to Euphonia, Tilly said that he's an evil man and he's lying and he definitely knows the blonde woman, so maybe we should follow him.
I think Tilly's exactly right. Yet again. Let's lie in wait. Oh, and I'll use my new skin cipher. Why not? So I go over to the side and dig a little pot of foul-smelling something out of my bag. It's got like cold cream or something in it, and it smells way too much like licorice. And I rub it in, and as I do, my features start to change. Not a lot, but enough that I don't look like myself anymore. And that lasts for 24 hours.
I
Is
take
any
go.
Sorry.
Keep going. I didn't mean
No,
to
I was
interrupt. bad.
ease any disguise things by 1.
Definitely. Just keep that in mind for me.
Yep.
I take off my big woolen overcoat and hat and tuck them in my bag, so I am in completely different looking clothes underneath.
Okay, that might not give you the same distraction, but
I look different. They will remember my clothes and my hat, not the fact that I now have hair and different
No, I
clothes
said that.
underneath.
Yeah, it will give you. It won't give you like a ease to disguise, but they won't remember that you're the same person.
Okay, cool.
Unfortunately, taking off clothes is not quite as magic as whatever Miss Euphonia had in her pot there was.
Fair enough. No. Removing of clothing is not magical, apparently.
So Euphonia, Hattie, you guys are now in mostly disguise. So where do we go from here? Are you?
Following the preacher.
We reckon he'll take us to the
Wherever.
woman.
Yeah, sure. After are you following like at a close distance or?
I think the 50-foot, a rope's length away.
Yeah, which isn't like a big deal in this town. Basically, you could probably just stand in one place and turn around almost. But you watch as Father Finner kind of just like makes his rounds to like each house. Like definitely like sometimes preachers just kind of like make rounds in small towns like this, checking in on people that weren't there today.
Yeah.
Sometimes stopping in for like a cup of coffee. Sometimes someone has a prayer request for him. Some of these new houses, like they want like blessed. If you guys aren't following super far behind, you wouldn't be able to tell exactly what he was going into each house for. But he stays for maybe about like 5-10 minutes at a time before like making his departure, and eventually starts to make his way like out towards the mining camp again, like out towards like the construction and everything. And are you two still distinctly following him?
I think so.
Mm.
Hattie,
Yeah.
what you think?
I think we should follow him, either that or it's his wife. Maybe we should
That's
find
what I'm
his house.
wondering.
Or maybe his sister.
Sure.
Which would you like to do?
Should maybe like one of us go ahead and the other one hang back a bit, and we kind of like take it in turns to swap?
Sure. I think that's a fine idea.
Okay.
You want to take the front leg
Sure.
first? All right. I
Well,
bend down to rebutton my boots and let them get a lead on me.
So Hattie, you're following after the pastor then?
Yep.
Or not distinct in any
So
way
subtle.
whatsoever.
So subtle.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you kind of take the follow on this one while we focus in on Euphonia. You said you're going after the house.
Yeah.
Well, there's maybe about 2 or 3 houses in this tiny little pop-up town that haven't been visited.
Fair enough. If there's anybody passing in the street, I'll ask after the pastor's home. I've got a message to deliver.
and looking a little bit different, and maybe not a little bit as run down as Elegy is. It's no one's really gonna bother you talking to the pastor. So they like point you in the direction of a pretty smaller house. Pretty plain, just like a nice like tan, like clapped together.
Okay, I'll walk on up and rap on the door.
No one answers.
Is there anybody directly behind?
I mean, there's a few people milling about because it is a Saturday afternoon, and there's a handful of people that have just gotten out of this sermon, but no one that you can tell is watching you very closely.
Fair enough. I'll knock again, a little bit louder this time, and try the door handle to see if it's locked.
It is locked.
Okay. Can I duck around the side and see if there's another door or a window in the
Definitely.
back? I'll do that.
So it does look like it's like one of those straight through houses. So there is like a
Mhm.
little back door and a little window next to it.
Perfect. Peering through the window first. Do I see a feminine touch?
Honestly, Euphonia, the house, from what you can tell, looks pretty bare. In fact, like there's no lights on or anything to show anyone else's home.
Fair enough. I try this door. Is it locked as well?
It is, though it feels like a simpler lock. Like it's not like a key lock so much as like like one of those little latch locks.
All right. If it's a fold over latch, I'll give the door a little wiggle until I get enough room to get a hairpin through and
Okay.
slip it
If
off.
you would like to go ahead and make a difficulty 3 roll for me.
Okay. 11. Does that do it?
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
No, it was a 9.
Yes.
So it does take you a second, but you do hear like feel that latch like flick open, and the door gives that like little bit of give that shows that it's no longer locked.
Okay. I'll push it open and call out. Hello, is anybody home?
It's pretty
Hello?
silent.
All right, I'll walk through and see if there's anything of interest.
Again, from what you saw outside, it looks pretty sparse, and the inside looks about the same. You can't tell if it is just like the proprietary of a pastor, but like the kitchen, pretty plain. 2 tables and I'm sorry, 1 table and 2 chairs like up against the wall. It doesn't look like it's particularly filled with food, though just from your general knowledge, a lot of pastors don't like have a lot stocked in the fridge just because of how many of their
Sure.
parishioners will feed them.
Sure. Is there Are there nice dishes in the house? Or is it
Are you
like
opening up?
yeah, I'll open up a cabinet. Um, is there like china that's been given, or is it all mismatched? Um,
It looks stock standard.
okay,
Like
okay.
what
So
you
I'm beginning to think that it is not a woman of this house. I will do a quick scan through to see if I see anything sus, and then I'm back out the back door and gone.
so there is an upstairs. Are you wanting to
Okay.
go all the way upstairs or?
Sure.
Sure. So on this level, there is a bedroom, and it looks like another little side room.
Okay. Double bed or single?
Single bed.
Okay. I'll give the side room a cursory once over.
It's locked too.
Sus. Sus as how can I? I wanna try and get in. I gotta know.
Definitely. It would be the same role because like this is like an inside house lock. They're usually going to be that like pretty standard. If you like have it like a screw or like a nail or something, you can just like push it through. But that still
Perfect.
takes a little bit of wiggling.
Sure. I will do it. Is this intellect or speed?
Are you trying to do it fast or are you trying to do it with like minimal amount of discovery?
The latter.
Okay, then it would be intellect.
Great. I will ease it by 1.
Mm-hmm. For
So I
6.
just gotta hit a 6. 19. Didn't even need it.
No, and with a 19, that gives you a little bit extra.
Oh, right.
So Euphonia, you push in this door. This probably looks like the most used room out of the house. Like it maybe it's not out of touch for you would think like a preacher. In fact, it looks more like a pulpit to a point. There is a long, like not quite like a counter, but like a desk drawers, like a set of drawers have been like pushed up against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And like a semicircle around this is just like different like levels of like nightstands and like a chair at one point. And on every single surface, there are like candles that have not been lit, but have definitely been lit in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And on like this front counter, there is like a single picture in a frame of a pale blonde woman with green eyes, smiling. And next to her is the pastor. And it looks like their wedding day.
I'm gonna take the photo, leave the frame.
Okay. So are you leaving the house, like getting out as fast as you can at
Oh,
that
yes.
point? Or are you taking
Hell
like the
out of Dodge.
careful
No, I'm slipping that photo out, putting it in my doctor bag, and getting the hell out.
Definitely. So leaving doors open and everything.
I'll close the doors behind me.
Okay. Just kind of getting a time frame on some things in my head.
Yeah.
But yeah, you leave and you step out onto the main street. Are you going like back to town or to Hattie or?
Well, when I go out the back, I assume there's not like solid fencing anywhere.
No.
Yeah. So I'm going to go away, not back around the front, but like crossing through whatever alley there is and going down like 4 or 5 houses or the equivalent distance. And then I'll head back to where Hattie was following him toward the actual work being done.
Sure. I will say as you like step back onto that road, like the worn truck road, you feel a hand on your shoulder.
Turn around.
It's a very finely groomed older gentleman. He's wearing a very, very well kept gray suit. You can see a pocket chain hanging out of his front. Can you read for me again, Euphonia, what your see the unseen does?
Automatically perceive creatures and objects that are normally invisible, insubstantial, or hidden via magic.
Perfect. Because you look at this gentleman and you can see like white hairs like at this temple and at his side moving into like dark, almost coal black hair. And Euphonia, have you lost any people to the railroad?
Yeah, I think I have. Maybe not blood kin, but people close to me.
For a few moments, like, his face is obscured, and then you start seeing that one boy. That one boy, he got his leg crushed when he was working out, laying track when they first came through. It was one of the few losses of Elegy to like railroad work, and it is just pain on his face, and then it flickers through a few more that look very familiar, all dead, all anguished, all in pain. And like as this like flickers through, you like watch as like the mouth opens. Now, young lady, I hear you're causing some trouble around my town, yes?
Oh, well, that couldn't be me, sir. I'm sure I
Oh,
don't know what you mean.
I think you might do. I don't mind some young upstarts in town, but when you start causing trouble for my people, well, that bothers progress. And we don't stop on progress. After all, we have a saying in this town. Ever onward, ever forward. And we ain't gonna stop for anything. Why don't you tell me just exactly what's going on? And I think that might be where we end tonight.
Sounds good to me.
Ooh.
Bastard.
They're all
Well, I think
bastards,
Heather
aren't
is
they?
the only one that has listened to Old Gods.
Yeah.
So I think Heather is the only one that knows anything that's going on in this situation right now.
Bastard.
Yeah.
I mean, we've made some guesses in chat, but we don't know if they're
Well,
right or not.
let's wait until we are off stream for Heather to talk about
Mhm.
that.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you to Alyss for running this and for agreeing to run a second part. Thank you to David for joining us using his hotspot on his phone for his internet. Thank you
Bless
for
it.
Kat for wearing that beard and being awesome. And thank you to Heather for actually knowing how to play this game and carrying us
That helped
all.
greatly. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you to the audience for being here and supporting us, giving us those Kiwi coins, some tips, and some cheers. That has been much appreciated and very helpful, except for those -1s, which always seem to come my way for some reason. I wonder why. All right. Let's wave awkwardly while I find the bye-bye screen. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Continue.